Why, hello everyone, how are you doing this fine day? Hope you're enjoying your week. Welcome to another survival challenge. We're going to do things a little bit differently today. We have some guests here. Say hello to SCP-40K and Baby Oil Supreme.
Baby Oil Supreme!
Okay, Rouga, you told me you'd stop with the mime jokes, and now it's Baby Oil Supreme. Is this ever gonna end? Hey guys, it's Tech Guy Gaming here. It's not Baby Oil Supreme, and I refuse to hear any crap about my name.
Hi, SCP-40K, Artie. I basically am a SCP-40K VTuber. I am a Space Marine SCP-looking thing. I stream most of the time. I do SCP-40K meme reviews and Cursed Warhammer images and a couple minis and a couple other things too. So, hey, thank you for having me over there, Buggo.
Alright. That's a new one. I don't think I've ever been called that. Basically, what we're doing today is we're going to be talking about the SCP Foundation and what were to happen if we were to put a bunch of different random characters in the SCP Foundation to see how they interact with the world, how the world will interact with them, and just basically have a conversation about it. We have a list right here. We could pull at really whatever order, but if you guys just want to go in order of...
Fine by me.
Alright, that means that the first character is going to be Hulk. First off, I know a lot about Hulk. I don't know shit about SCP. Would there be any interest in the Hulk from any of the factions? You guys explain SCP a little bit.
Let me go into this. I'm Dan, you're with me on this when I say every fucking faction.
Yeah,
I feel
pretty
like
much everybody would be interested in the Hulk.
To put this in perspective, Rouga, I'm gonna list off the groups of interest that basically are in the SCP universe. You have the Foundation, which is basically the guys that you read their news, their articles, and everything else. The opposite, which they just want to contain stuff to protect humanity. The GOC, on the other hand, want to destroy every anomalous object. So pretty much think of Ross from,
Friends.
No, General Ross from.
Yeah, I guess
the thing.
That is Ross.
Yeah, imagine that, but just an entire group of people just trying to kill Hulk.
The different factions in SCP, you only ever really read about them through the eyes of what the Foundation tells you. So it is a little bit of a skewed narrative because of the Foundation. However...
you do get their mission statements from each organization, which the GOC basically wants to destroy all anomalies and let nothing survive because they want to be the dominant people.
Is there anybody in the SCP Foundation who's not going to want to kill Hulk or ignore him? Like, is there anyone that the Hulk would actually,
or the Serpent's Hand?
They would actually want to work with him or be friendly. Is there anyone that would be friendly with the Hulk and not
Serpent's Hand, definitely.
Serpent's Hand would be. The Foundation has a sordid history with humanoid SCP.
It would be hit or miss with the Foundation. The Foundation either will use the Hulk or contain the Hulk. That's their narrative. They never really destroy entities unless it's world-ending type entities. I would say
Foundation's also really big on testing, so the Hulk would get a little upset at that.
Yeah, I will say the Serpent's Hand probably be the one and only group to keep him safe and actually help him. That's the weird thing about the Serpent's Hand. Serpent's Hand believes that the anomalies should be free and humanity should survive. The world should be the survival of the fittest. That the anomalies are the next evolution in human evolution, basically. They don't want secrets. They want everybody to know about them. Well, the Foundation wants to keep
would you consider them to be good guys or bad guys?
You don't really see anything outside of the Foundation's perspective. So from the perspective of the Foundation, all of those other coalitions we mentioned, like the GOC, the Serpent's Hand, the Cult of the Flesh Queen, all of those are different organizations that the Foundation is looking to suppress or to
get rid of. Except for the UIU.
Well, yeah, but
UIU.
That's a special case.
I just want to bring this up to Rouga because this will make him laugh. There's a group called the UIU. It is the FBI's version of the Foundation. And guess what? They are fucking useless. To put it in perspective, it's 4 or 5 grown-ass adults in the room. They're a fucking toddler.
Oh no, a government organization is incompetent?
They're that's the FBI's
how
version
common is that?
Never seen that before.
I've never seen it. No.
Actually getting into this, when Hulk were to somehow get into this universe, no clue how, as long as
comic book shenanigans.
Yeah, comic book shenanigans, Hulk ends up in the SCP universe. The problem with that is the minute he is in that universe, does Hulk give off gamma radiation just constantly, even when he's not in the Hulk form,
Yes.
then he would be immediately clocked as an anomaly by the Foundation because they have eyes everywhere.
Basically, the Foundation they have what are called an MTF, which is a mobile task force, which are specific groups, which I'm going to say this right now, there is over 100 MTFs. I did videos on explaining like the Americans and some of
There's even more, actually.
There's even more. Yeah, the American ones are almost over 100. And I did the other ones as well, like the German and the Chinese and the other people. Like, it's a lot. But
they have extraterrestrial MTFs.
Oh yeah, they have one that circles the moon, just for clarification. I will say this, Banner would probably be picked up by either Maz Hatters or maybe Cauterizers.
I don't even think it matters what MTF picks him up. As soon as he gets there, he'd be clocked as an anomaly just based on the gamma radiation he's giving out.
Yeah.
At which point, he'd be brought back to a secure facility. Not sure which one. It would really be dependent on where he lands in the world.
I would think it would either be the same site that they have a couple of the other gamma radiation area SCPs. Like, basically, what's the prison that they usually put Hulk in? I can't remember what it's fucking called.
In Marvel?
Yeah, in Marvel, what is it called? I can't fucking remember.
I mean, they've tried to put him in a ton of different prisons.
It's the gamma radiation one, the radiated one. Where
I can't remember the exact name. What about it?
Basically, there is an SCP site like that for others that give off like radiation and stuff like that. I would think they would take him there. First off. Second off, we have to talk about Bruce Banner. We have to talk about it. Because you have to understand something. The Foundation would see Bruce Banner as a fucking asset. As the biggest asset that they have gotten in a long while.
Oh, yeah, he's like top 5 smartest on Earth.
In his universe. That is an asset. I would say the Foundation off rip would try to recruit him fucking immediately.
Well, they'd contain him first because he's giving off the gamma radiation. Once they realize how intelligent he is, they'd probably negotiate with him.
Okay, so here's a question. This is where we needed a moderator for this. Can they contain him?
Well,
I believe so.
So the mobile task force would probably approach him, and because he is a human that they can negotiate with, they'd probably be like, hey, you're giving off all of this radiation. Can we take you to a secure place and have a conversation?
Oh, so they would go about it sensibly.
Yes. Like the Foundation
they wouldn't go
sensible.
in guns blazing and try to shoot his ass.
Now, here comes the problem, Dan. If it's the Foundation, they'd be sensible coming in and say, hey, like Dan said, hey, you're giving off a lot of gamma radiation. Is it okay if we take you to a secure location and talk this out? Because the way that it's going, we don't want you to harm anybody. And Bruce Banner immediately is going to say yes.
Not immediately.
No.
Not immediately. Not immediately.
Bruce I'm not saying that Bruce is going to fight back or anything, but Bruce has a serious distrust for government organizations, and he's been lied to. He's been manipulated. People have always tried to take advantage of him. I'm not going to say he's going to fight back or anything, but he's definitely going to be cautious, and he may not immediately say yes straight off the bat.
The SCP, first off, isn't government. It's shadow organization.
It's shadow organization, but it's still an organization.
Secret intelligence. It would be closer to
It's close enough that I think he would kind of have to double look at it a bit. Like, it's not something that he would just go in full force.
This is the thing where it gets really interesting, Rouga, because I'm going to tell you something the Foundation can do that not many other organizations can do. If Bruce Banner ends up in, let's say, Chicago, right? The Foundation is immediately going to evacuate a 7 to 8 mile radius around Bruce and then have somebody come in and negotiate. They are that type of people that if we know this is a guy that's going to cause damage, we need to be very cautious, we need to be careful, and we need to make sure everybody is safe. We don't give a fuck how much it costs, just make sure everybody is safe.
Well, yeah, they don't need to care how much it costs. They have infinite resources.
Pretty much.
If they come in and they're reasonable and all that kind of stuff, and they talk to Bruce and not one of the versions of the Hulk. But honestly, there aren't really that many Hulks that are completely, you just can't negotiate with. So if that's the way they're coming in, it might not be the easiest thing in the world, but it's definitely possible they can negotiate with him.
Now,
if they can get him to sit down at the table, they would talk out a decent plan with him. And even if Bruce came in as one of the other Hulks, now I'm not intimately familiar with the Hulk, so I'm not sure, but if Bruce came in as one of the other Hulks and was just a giant green monster running around, the SCP probably would go in a little more aggressively and try to subdue him before doing anything. but that would be a big what-if scenario. That really
I
depends
can
how the
think of-
Hulk comes into this universe.
Dan, thank you for that, because I actually could bring in an SCP that I know for a fact would cancel out Hulk. 999 is called the Tickle Monster. It is basically imagine a slime, but orange. Anyone that is in the vicinity is like in a better mood. Anybody that touches them experiences a grandeur of euphoria like they've never felt before.
It doesn't cancel the Hulk. It depends on the version of Hulk.
I know,
Which
it does,
of which one
but
it cancels.
But it calms him down.
Not depends on the version. So if we're talking about Savage Hulk, yeah, that would work. That's literally how Sentry dealt with Savage Hulk pretty much every time they came into contact with each other. However, during World War Hulk, it was shown that certain versions of Hulk, particularly Devil Hulk, Green Scar,
Sure.
Titan Hulk, Hulks like this, they're completely vulnerable or immune to any sort of form of mental or empath manipulation. It doesn't work. The Sentry could no longer calm him because the Sentry's rays actually calm the Hulk. It's a power the Sentries have, but it doesn't work on certain versions.
If it is those versions, I will flip it to his brother, 682. The nigh unkillable fucking lizard.
The SCP would never free him to deal with the Hulk. Are you insane? The resources they've invested into securing the lizard, the SCP would never release him to deal with a different SCP. Maybe Abel.
I think Abel would be perfect for Hulk.
Okay, so I'm actually reading the description of SCP-999 right now, and it's not any sort of empath ability. It's
not empath. It's just the fact that it calms people the fuck down.
Well, yeah, that's what the rays of the Sentry does. Like that's literally what it does.
SCP-999 will emit different odors based on what the people it's interacting with are, and will give them a feeling of just extreme content whenever like they're being touched, almost like if it was a perfect dog, basically.
Yeah, there's other characters in Marvel who have very similar powers. Dakin, for instance, one of Wolverine's children, has the ability that he can release pheromones, and those pheromones can actually affect, like, he can make you fall in love with them, he can calm you down, he can enrage you, he can control your emotions and your emotional. Doesn't work on the Hulk. A lot of stuff like that just doesn't work on the Hulk. Certain versions.
I would say that if that's the case, I would say either Abel, or if we're trying to actually just contain him, I would probably assume because there's a couple SCPs I can think of, but none of them the Foundation would be willing to release. I believe the Foundation would be more kind to trying to get people away. They wouldn't try to fight him at this point. They would just try to make sure the area is secure.
They try to find a way to contain him, but it would be after they evacuate all of the region.
Yeah,
so
I think
it wouldn't be like immediate. It would be immediately save the people.
Yeah, I think it would be an SCP-3000 or an SCP-186 scenario, the Leviathan. I think it would be one of those scenarios where they keep track of them, but keep everybody else at a distance.
This is if something happened. Now, in the Marvel comics, obviously something is always going to happen to trigger fucking Banner and bring the Hulk out, because it's Marvel Comics and you're there for Hulk. If he's just coming to a world and it's just a normal planet with normal shit going on, unless he has a reason to transform into, for the average person, I don't know what's going to happen to him while he's just like in this new world traveling around. I don't know if there's fucking, serial rapists on every corner.
Rouga, what we just described is basically what happens if the Foundation found him first. With the GOC, that's a different can of worms that ends with the Hulk immediately. It does not matter.
This world that he'd be coming into is essentially our real world, but with the SCP shadow organizations working in the background. So that's essentially the world that SCP takes place in. There is secret technology and shit going on in the background that we have no clue about. The reason that I say SCP would probably find Bruce Banner first is just because they're the ones with the most resources out of all of the groups. They're the ones who are probably best set up to locate Bruce Banner immediately as he comes through an interdimensional portal, because they also track interdimensional portals.
Yes.
So they're the most likely ones to find them.
But in a case of emergency, let's say the portal opens up right by a GOC garrison. The GOC are basically, if it's Banner, they're immediately going to realize he's giving off gamma radiation, which is weird. They're going to come in, and basically, like I said, they're going to act just like the people trying to kill Bruce in the Marvel Universe. They don't care. He's an anomaly. He needs to die. That's it. They don't give a shit. They're going
They
to
would
do
act
whatever
like the
they
U.S.
can to kill him.
military when Bruce was first created.
Exactly.
Shoot that thing down at all costs.
Exactly. They're not going to give a fuck. There's one more organization that I know for a fact would be a little bit sketchy, and that's the Chaos Insurgency. And the only reason I bring them up is because if they were somehow able to get hands on Bruce, they're inoculating him and keeping him knocked out and selling him to the highest bidder.
Except for the fact that even I'm aware that you can't keep the Hulk knocked out.
You can't keep him knocked out. Yeah, he's. I mean, like I said,
Toxins
certain
won't work on him.
everything with the Hulk is everything with Marvel in general is inconsistent. But there are. It depends on what version of Hulk we're talking about. If we're talking about an unraged Savage Hulk, I could probably name on one hand the amount of times he's been knocked out. But as a general rule, you can't knock the Hulk out.
Who's the 1920s gangster Hulk? What's his name? Mr. Fix-It?
Yeah, Joe Fix-It, yeah.
Joe Fix-It. 50. I know for a fucking fact if that motherfucker was in the SCP universe, he'd be a fucking running the Chaos Insurgency.
Well, the only
100%.
Hulk can only turn into Joe Fix-It. Well, most of the time, Hulk can only turn into Joe Fix-It when he's in Vegas. It's a location-specific form that he turns
would be
into.
funny as fuck.
That would be hilarious.
That would be hilarious. Joe Fix-It is now the head honcho of the Chaos Insurgency. What
and is
the
leading
fuck?
it from a hotel in Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what the fuck? Chaos Insurgency is basically mercenaries selling anomalous objects for the highest bidder. They are money grubbers. They don't give a fuck. They want to sell anomalies to the highest bidder.
Yeah, no, that makes even more sense with Joe Fix-It just being in a hotel in Vegas.
Yeah.
That would just be so fucking perfect. Because it would just be, alright, well, these guys can't fucking seem to handle this SCP on their own, so I guess I'm going into battle.
That would make sense, because Joe Fix-It is kind of a gangster. Like a literal gangster.
He would essentially become the mob boss of the Chaos Insurgency, and it would be fucking great.
That's fun.
I would totally watch that show.
So as of right now, are we most inclined to believe that he's going to be found by the Foundation?
Yeah, he's more or less going to be found by the Foundation. There's no way. Unless, like, really good scenario. Even if after the GOC throws everything at him and somehow Bruce, the Hulk gets away, calms down, turns back into Bruce Banner, Foundation's going to find him. The only scenario I see the Foundation not being able to get him is the Chaos Insurgency Vegas thing. And that's it. That's
an extremely fringe case. That would have to be that
if he shows up in Las Vegas, if he meets the Chaos.
Vegas.
It's a very specific.
It's
now,
very
I do
specific.
believe there have been times. The reason why I say most of the times, there have been times where he's turned into Joe Fix-It outside of Vegas. But Vegas, it's just known. If Bruce Banner's in Vegas, Joe Fix-It's going to show up in that storyline.
I'm just imagining the fucking Foundation negotiator walking into like the penthouse of the fucking Hard Rock Casino. Joe Fix-It smoking a cigar.
Yeah, smoking a cigar, like half a shirt on, just like,
and like
hat over
6
his
guards
eyes.
of the Chaos Insurgency around him, like, don't fucking try it, bitch.
Now, having said all this, there is a possibility Hulk just wants to be left alone. He doesn't want to be bothered by the government. He doesn't want to be bothered by anybody. He just wants to live his life. If the Foundation shows up and if Hulk does say, look, you guys are cool, but I don't want any part of it. Like, just leave me the fuck alone.
Then they'd find him a location and literally say, hey, look, as long as you stay over here and don't bother anybody, we won't bother you. That's it. Like the
Foundation would probably give him his own private island at that
point.
point.
Legit, the Foundation has done that multiple times, and they do that because the simple truth is some anomalies they can't contain. For instance, 001 proposal, the Gate Guardian. It's a giant, flaming, sworded wielding angel about 10 stories tall, guarding the gate of Garden of Eden. They literally put out a fucking big ass area that nobody can cross, and that's it. They just said, we're not touching it, we're not going near it, we've experimented enough, we're done.
I'm not entirely sure that Hulk would be okay with that. I mean, the idea of him wanting to be left alone is exactly that. He wants to be left alone. He doesn't want to be confined to a private island. He wants to be left alone. He might do it. I'm not going to go as far as to say he wouldn't, but I don't think it would last very long. I think it's just a matter of time before he just leaves the island. And
that's what I'm getting at too, is like the Foundation, they're cold. They're not cruel. They will, like, if the Hulk says, hey, I want to be left alone, okay, well, listen, we need to make sure that the civilian population doesn't get in your way, so please at least tell us where you're going to be, like a general area, so that way we can make sure people don't bother you. We aren't going to try to bother you. We're just going to try to keep everybody away from you.
Yeah, these sound like very sensible people.
They
I
are
feel like
sometimes.
I feel like no one like this exists in Marvel.
They don't, but
It would have
also,
solved
like,
the fucking Hulk problem if they if he had this situation.
So that's the thing. If the Foundation finds Hulk, they would sit down, negotiate with him. They probably ask Banner if he would be willing to contribute his intelligence, and they might ask if he's willing to undergo testing. That would be it. And then if he says no to all of that, they'd go, all right, where do you want us to build you a life? We will give you everything you need, from passports, infinite funds, unlimited access to whatever you want. Just make sure you leave the civilians alone, and we'll keep everything that might cause any harm to you away.
I think he would say no to the testing. I don't think he would necessarily say no to working for them, though. He likes being a scientist. He likes experimenting and stuff like that. But also, I'm not 100% sure that. I mean, you have to tell me how smart the Foundation is, but I'm not 100% sure that they can do any testing on Banner that he doesn't already know. I mean, the whole
Not
Banner.
that type of testing. Not that type of testing.
What do you
Testing,
mean?
testing basically. For instance, if the Foundation were able to somehow convince him to allow them to test, they would probably use the Hulk to probably try to kill 682 off rip, not even questioning that.
Yeah, that's the adapting one.
Yeah, it's
That's
the unkillable lizard.
extremely hard to kill lizard. So
That
it is.
or
He might be able to do it. Depends on the like I said, it depends on the version.
It's a giant sentient lizard that literally its containment protocols are to keep it doused in acid so that it's permanently a skeleton. And if it ever escapes that acid, it causes a site-wide facility breach and has on-site nuclear warheads ready, aimed specifically at it, ready for detonation.
Yeah, but Hulk controls the green door as well as has the ability to essentially kill beings that are above the concept of death. So, like, he's been able to.
Might actually be a way to kill the lizard.
that's
yeah.
why I said they would probably ask him, like, hey, could you kill this fucking thing? We've been trying since the 60s, and it won't fucking die.
Yeah, so just to explain to people, in case they're not aware at home, what the green door is. The green door is essentially a portal that connects all versions of Hell to the below place and to Earth. Hulk has complete control over it. If he kills someone, they get sent through the green door, and he can decide to keep it shut for them so that they can't come back. This completely negates any form of resurrection. He can also choose to go there and come back whenever he wants, so he can freely travel between life and death. And yeah, so it's not just one Hell. It's literally every version of Hell in all of existence. He controls the entrance gate to every single version of Hell across all of existence.
I think we found the way he gets into the Foundation, the SCP universe.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, it goes to the
That could
green
work.
door.
There are just I don't think there was anything else because quite honestly, flesh cults are the only ones I could think of, and I know for a fact Bruce Banner ain't fucking with that shit.
The only other thing I
got a hand in him, like, you can't cut the Hulk's skin. It's just
You can. It's
you
just
can. It heals very quickly.
It heals like instantaneously.
He has a better healing factor than Wolverine and Deadpool, but you can't cut him. I mean, you'd have to be physically strong enough to cut him, and there are certain versions of him that are so hard that very few people can actually pull that off. But
there is one thing in the SCP universe I think for a fact would probably kill the Hulk. That would be the Gate Guardian. And the only reason I
things in the SCP universe,
there is a few, but the Gate Guardian's the one that pops up in my head because we talked about it recently. Basically, anybody that gets within, I think it's 100 meters or so of the Gate Guardian, if you're not allowed to go there, you're instantly atomized.
It wouldn't kill him. I'm not saying it wouldn't kill him. It wouldn't kill him permanently. He would appear in Hell, and then he would just walk back through the door,
and then instantly get vaporized again.
No, well, he wouldn't. No, because he wouldn't be in the same location. He can come back in a different location. At one point, the first time he ever came back from Hell, he appeared on a different planet. Like it connects him to the living world and all versions of Hells wherever he wants to go.
Okay, that's on me. Let's see
and also. This is also probably something that's important. Hulk has like insanely good adaptation abilities, and it's something that people don't talk about it much because a lot of writers don't necessarily use it. But like for instance, when he jumped into the water for the first time, he instantly grew gills so that he could fucking breathe underwater. He adapted to breathing in space. He's adapted his strength and skills will adapt. He'll just adapt new powers on the fly. Characters who he couldn't hurt before, he'll be able to hurt them randomly. He can adapt new powers. So it's possible, even if it was the case that, like, if he had to fight this thing for a longer period of time, who knows what, he could eventually resist the point to where the atomization just wouldn't work on him anymore. He also is an enemy of logic. Basically, Hulk's very existence goes against what logic is, and you cannot use logic to overcome the Hulk. Like, he literally defies the law of logic. Yeah, I don't usually use Marvel characters in these sort of situations because it's iffy. Like, most writers of Hulk don't use these powers for him most of the time, but there are versions of Hulk that use all this shit, and on those versions, Hulk is one of the most powerful fictional characters ever created. He gets fucking insane. We haven't even talked about Gamora Hulk, which will probably be a problem for the entire SCP Foundation universe, just not anytime soon. But eventually that might be an issue, and that will basically wipe out the entire multiverse that exists within SCP. If it is a multiverse, I'm not actually sure.
It is.
It is, but what is a Gamora Hulk?
So Gamora Hulk is basically so there's 7 iterations of the Marvel multiverse. Maybe it's 8 by now. I think they might be on their 8th, but it was 7. Every iteration of the Marvel multiverse has a timeline, and at the end of the timeline, the multiverse ends. What Gamora Hulk did is it's a version of Hulk that completely has all of the powers of the one below all, which is the equal and opposite of the one above all. I don't actually think it's the equal in terms of power. I think it's more like the devil as compared to God, but people do say it's equal in power. I don't buy that necessarily. We've seen pretty hard limits on it, but basically there's 2 variations. There's the Destroyer and I forgot what the other one was called, but one's Gamora and one is something else, also starts with a G that I don't remember the name of. At the end of all things, Hulk destroys everything. He kills everyone. He kills all of the unkillable beings in Marvel. He kills Galactus, Mr. Immortal. He kills what the fuck's his name? Starts with an M. He's the voice of the one above all. He kills everything. And there's 2 versions. One version of him is possessed by the one below all, but there's another version that is not possessed by the one below all, but it's basically Bruce Banner at the end of all things, and he is given a choice by Metatron, that's his name. He's given a choice by Metatron of whether or not he's going to do what Gamora does, which is end all life in existence and destroy everything to where he's the only thing at the end of all things, or if he wants to go a different path. And we never see what his answer is, so we don't know what he ends up deciding. But we do know, based on Metatron asking him, that he's capable of doing the same thing that the one below all did. Essentially, Gamora Hulk is a version of Hulk at the end of time it's a alternate future version of Hulk that inevitably will end everything. It'll destroy all of Marvel to the point that it can no longer exist. But the reason why he's never brought up and never used, because he only appears in one storyline. He appears in the Immortal Hulk storyline, and he's never actually appeared. We just see him in the far, far, far future. So it's not really...
That would necessarily be a problem for the
I don't think
because I think at that point, like, pretty much everything's gone already anyway.
Yeah,
like we've seen time-altering SCPs in the Foundation that have brought Foundation personnel to futures where the entire Foundation's eroded, like the entire world's a desert type thing. And like we've seen that kind of thing time and time again in the SCP universe. They aren't eternal, and we know that. They're just trying to protect what they can in the moment.
Yeah, this is something that wouldn't happen until the very, very end of time itself. He basically brings about the end of time way sooner than it's supposed to be brought about, but it's still made clear that it's I think it's actually said to be billions of years in the future. It's billions, but it was supposed to be like way more than that. Yeah. But yeah, if not exactly the most climactic ending for Hulk, but it seems like it's just going to be Bruce Banner working for the Foundation while occasionally turning into the Hulk to maybe help them out with things. Kind of very similar to what he's doing in the Avengers for the most part.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, it's pretty much similar.
Probably, yeah. The Foundation would never overstep once they realize how powerful the Hulk is. He would probably be considered a Keter class, which is the highest danger rating.
I would actually say he's more Apollyon. I'd say he is uncontainable. Like, the Hulk is uncontainable. Like, nothing the Marvel Universe has done, nothing that the Foundation could do, it's unattainable.
I agree with you there, he's uncontainable, but they would still probably consider him Keter class because of the fact that he is willingly self-contained.
He's not. Yeah, he's not an enemy to them, and he's not a threat.
Yeah, so he probably
will be a threat at some point.
Self-containment.
Like, he's probably going to run into the same situation that he runs in with Marvel, right? If he's working for them long enough and he's being sent out on missions to help go capture the things, there's probably going to be some sort of point, some sort of storyline somewhere where Hulk loses fucking control. That is inevitably what always happens in the Marvel universe.
I don't think that will happen. I really don't, because the Foundation probably will do what they do with, like, Abel, which is basically there's a certain group of people that go out with Bruce, then let Bruce go in, and they stay the fuck away. They stay back, just watch, record, make sure everything's good to go.
There's that as one option, or the Foundation just would, because if Bruce agreed to work for them, he would have to undergo mandatory psych evaluations every few months. So he would have a regular therapist that he is seeing and working with, which would also probably help, because I know that Bruce's Hulk is brought on via his multiple personality disorder.
Yeah.
Unless I got that wrong, Rouga?
No, it's true. He has the most severe case of, I don't think they call it multiple personality anymore. They call it something else. It's
dissociative identity disorder.
Dissociative identity. He has the most extreme case of dissociative identity disorder in all of the Marvel universe. It is theorized that he has several thousand personalities that any one of them can take over at any given time. Although he has, like, I think 5 or 6 that are his main personalities that come out super often. But yeah, there's been times where people have gone inside his head and they've literally seen like cities worth of personalities inside of his head. He's fucked.
Yeah, so he would have a regular person that he is talking to, and they would probably never clear him for field work because of the fact that he is that mentally unstable. So he would probably be kept to just live your normal life, help us out with like your research and everything, because you're an extremely smart guy and we could use your help on some of these things. We're gonna keep you from going out into the field where it's possible that you lose control or that people are put in danger, because you have that chance of becoming something that we can't control and that you can't control.
Well, here's the funny part. Hulk is not the dangerous thing. Bruce Banner is. Bruce Banner is a sick, twisted person who can hold back his more demented thoughts and ideas because he has the Hulk that is essentially allows him to vent in ways that he can't. There have been times in the comics where Hulk has been removed from him and Bruce Banner becomes a fucking monster. Like, they literally did the Island of Dr. Moreau storyline once with Bruce Banner because the Hulk...
Or just fucking look at Old Man Logan timeline.
Well, I don't necessarily count that because it's an alternate universe. When you talk about alternate universes, you literally they're so different character-wise, you can't even...
I get that, but you have to also take into consideration that Hulk is basically that Banner just saying fuck it and letting the voices in, letting that intrusive thoughts win.
Sure, but 6-1, but you can't count the Old Man Logan, any of the characters in Old Man Logan, to be the same as the as their versions. They're totally different people. Yeah, but like in other timelines, you could probably consider them the same, but in other universes, they're literally nothing alike. The concept is essentially the same. Bruce Banner specifically, he is a threat to national security most of the time, and Hulk is the thing that keeps him in check, and this is something that people in the story don't necessarily understand. Maybe a couple. I think Samson probably does. That's his therapist. But most people don't even know this. This is just something that you have to read the stories and you kind of come to this conclusion on your own. He's a dangerous fucking dude.
He is dangerous.
So that's the thing. Like, in this SCP universe, if it goes the way we talked about, he would have a new version of Samson. So he'd have someone that he's regularly talking to that would be able to tell the SCP, hey, this guy is not something we should really be messing with.
Yeah, exactly.
The SCP doesn't have the magic abilities that someone like Thanos does. So they wouldn't ever be able to separate Hulk because they would only have the technology aspect, right? So they would never be able to separate Hulk from Banner anyway.
Yeah, Doom, Dr. Doom was able to separate Hulk from Banner, but he used a combination of... You have to use both, basically. And even then, it's generally only temporary anyway. And like I said, the comics have made it pretty clear it's a bad idea to separate the two. Yeah.
So if Banner were to never have the Hulk removed, but still have him in his head, would Banner be able to be a functioning member of society?
No.
There have been times where Hulk was just didn't come out for very long periods, like months at a time, and Bruce Banner has been okay. but it's always sort of this underlying thing where it's inevitable that it's gonna go bad. He's essentially a ticking time bomb. It's just when that time, maybe it'll be years, but eventually he's gonna need the Hulk, because he can't really entirely function in society normally. But the thing that makes it so difficult and such a pain in the ass for a lot of people is he seems like he can function in society all the time. He seems like a very normal, intelligent, like cool dude, but he's not. he causes problems. But yes, so it's inevitable. At some point, he's going to have the Hulk come back. But honestly, I don't think it's possible, or I don't think it's not possible to remove the Hulk from him permanently. Because the fact of the matter is that the Hulk is not scientific. It is a mystical thing. And even if you remove the Hulk, he will inevitably, like I said, an enemy of logic. He's inevitable, all this sort of stuff. Banner will become Hulk again. Whatever has to happen in order to make that happen will happen so that Banner becomes Hulk again. And it's also important to notice.
I'm not saying they'd ever remove him, but like if they could just give him a safe place where he can become the Hulk, is that something that they could do?
Yeah, I mean, there's no problem. I mean, no version of the Hulk, arguably, there might be a couple. Guilt Hulk is probably pretty fucking evil, but most versions of the Hulk are not actually evil. They all love Bruce Banner, and they all exist for the sole purpose to protect Bruce Banner from himself. So essentially,
the SCP Foundation would essentially give Bruce Banner a new version of Samson, and then if they could, they'd try to find a way to build a facility where like any Hulk that comes out would essentially just be happy in that area. They can build huge facilities that are the size of cities.
Yeah, as long as none of these other organizations show up to try and like rain on his parade of him just chilling on his own. I think that'll probably be fine.
The other organizations would be held back by the SCP Foundation. The Foundation has a stranglehold on this world. Like, those other organizations are not even like a tenth of the size of the SCP Foundation, and the SCP Foundation barely registers them as a threat until they make a site-wide security breach.
I'm not gonna lie,
extremely rare.
when we talked about doing this, I was like, I was thinking that SCP Foundation would be way more grimdark than it is. Like, it seems like everything for the most part is relatively chill.
No, they're relatively above board. Like, the worst things that the SCP Foundation do is they have something called Class D, or Class Disposable Personnel, which are essentially death row inmates. So like serial rapists, murderers, cannibals, like all that sort of shit. Those are Class D personnel that they use in testing and then routinely kill off. Like,
and these are like he said, they're death row inmates. They're
scum of the earth. Bad. Yeah, they're scum of the earth types, or they're people who have like seen and undergone way too much in their lives, who don't want to deal with the world anymore. And at that point, the SCP Foundation's just like, all right, fuck you.
Yeah, gotcha. Pretty much.
It's like, so they're actually very sensible people.
So have we pretty much reached the end of the Hulk conversation? Is there anything else you guys wanted to add about Hulk?
I don't think there is anything else.
I think he essentially lives happily ever after, better than he ever does in Marvel.
In the Marvel universe, yeah. That's the saddest statement. Yeah. He lives perfectly fine.
Well, see, I think a lot of this has to do, and we're going to kind of get into the point of storytelling. SCP is a wiki universe. It's not a universe that's built for the sole purpose of telling stories. You can't have a story without conflict. I'm not 100% sure the SCP Foundation universe would work all that well as it is if you were to like write a novel or write a series about it, because you would have to have things go wrong in order for there to be a story in the first place.
Well, things do regularly go wrong in the SCP universe. It's not like they're infallible. It's just that they are very well organized to the point of being essentially a world government that operates the entire planet from the shadows. They are very well made, but things do regularly go wrong. Like, there are site breaches, there are different things that happen. Like, that's what the whole purpose of like the SCP games are based on. They're based on containment breach. If the SCPs get out of their containment cells, what happens to the world? So you could write a novel in the SCP universe, and there's tons of conflict you can have. It's just, on average, they have a higher success rate than they have a failure.
It sounds like, as we're going through this list, it sounds like we should probably stick with the villains of the list more so than the heroes, because the heroes will more or less get along with everybody.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah.
Like, there's not a whole lot, like for instance, next on the list we have Doomguy. is there even any stories that we can have that would be interesting with Doomguy? I mean, he would basically just be on board with all the good shit that's going on.
I don't think there's anything Doomguy...
I'm pretty sure Doomguy would be the kind of person to walk into an SCP facility, find one of the interdimensional travelers, and be like, bring me back.
Peace out and just leave.
Well, Doomguy is a primeval who has a sole purpose in his existence. If that purpose isn't there, he just goes into a coma. And when that purpose comes back, he'll get back up. And that purpose is to protect the innocent from evil, essentially. So if everything's more or less above board, everything's kind of cool and chill, and there's just some evil things here and there, Doomguy doesn't really have a reason to be here.
There's a lot of SCPs that can end the world, but the SCP Foundation is monitoring and is making sure that they remain contained so that they can't do that. So honestly, Doomguy would probably show up, pass out into a coma, never wake up.
That's what it seems like.
Wake up in the event of a security breach. Doomguy probably doesn't have much to do in this universe. One thing I do want to touch on is that SCP used to be a lot worse in the early days, but they got a lot better because of the introduction of the Ethics Council, which essentially makes sure that SCP doesn't overstep where they shouldn't and doesn't become alright, let's just blow up towns every day when we feel like it. Because that is something that they actually used to do, but they have improved and they've put better measures in place now.
Then we'll move on, since Doomguy, there's not a whole lot that Doomguy could do. So let's move on to Jackie Estacado, who is a piece of shit. This is the Darkness. If you're Baby Oil Supreme, you don't know Jackie Estacado is. So Jackie Estacado, he's a massive piece of shit. He's a superhero with quotations, but not really. Just to give you an idea of some things.
He's a villain. He's a villain.
He's a villain as a main character, essentially. But he tries to be a hero. He fights a lot of bad guys, but he only really tries to be a hero because the woman he's in love with thinks that he could be a better person, but he can't, and it's time and time again he shows that he can't, but he still tries, sort of. If we go back to early series, he was an assassin, he was a mass murderer, he killed friends, he killed all sorts of innocent people. At one point, he was supposed to kill this chick's brother, and she was found out about it and tried to stop him, and he basically blackmailed her into sleeping with him so he wouldn't kill her brother if she slept with him. She did it, and then he killed her brother anyway. This is the type of person that he is. And then later,
like a piece of shit.
Oh, he's a piece of shit. Yeah, and then later on, yeah, and then later on in the series, he when he's trying to be a good person, when he's at his absolute most heroic, he's at his most powerful, he's basically in complete control of New York City Mafia. He's done all the good things that he's ever going to do, which isn't a lot, just to be clear. He doesn't like the way his life is going because his girlfriend's dead, and he has a daughter with a chick that hates him, and things just aren't going particularly well for him. So he erases the entire universe, kills everyone in the universe, and then recreates it to be perfect for him. And the woman that he had the daughter with was the Witchblade, and she's very powerful herself. When he erases the universe, including his own daughter, by the way, he basically recreated his daughter, but to be the daughter of him and the chick that died who he was in love with. So now it's their daughter. But the woman who he stole the child from wasn't erased because she has the Witchblade, and the Witchblade protected her from being erased. So in this new world where everything's different, perfect for Jackie Estacado, the Witchblade, Sarah, is aware that her daughter was fucking stolen from her and given to another woman, but her daughter doesn't know who she is. So, and Jackie knew this. Jackie knew that it wasn't going to work on her because she had the wish. He was totally cool with it. He's a piece of shit.
Fucking stupid.
He's a piece of shit. He's a terrible person. And how the SCP Foundation is going to interact with him is probably going to be pretty interesting because he basically... Well, when he gets the powers of the darkness, he wipes out all of the other crime families, takes over the mafia, and essentially becomes the crime kingpin of New York City, and then just rules with an iron fist over the entire city, trying to do good things here and there, but really just kind of doing whatever the fuck he wants to do. He doesn't like being told what to do. He's not going to listen to anything anybody says. He's essentially what would happen if you give godlike power to just a selfish son of a bitch. Let's see what happens.
I feel like the way this plays out is kind of Joe Fixit and the Chaos Insurgency again,
Yeah, but
he probably takes over, or if Serpent's hand gets to him first, he starts being a real pain in the sides of the SCP Foundation, at which point they would probably spend countless resources hunting this guy down until they can find a way to lock him up and contain him.
Oh, no. Kill order. Instant fucking kill order. Like,
Well,
You really think neutralized?
I really
don't
think
so.
neutralized. I really do think neutralized. Because here's the thing. You have to understand. The Foundation basically will never do it neutralize unless they believe the threat is so great that nothing they could do could stop it. Well, here's the thing. Jackie Estacado dies. What happens to the darkness? Oh, it just goes to the next fucking person.
that's not how it works.
That's not how it works.
No. It doesn't work that if he dies, the darkness will go to the next person, because Jackie can't die. What happens is, if he ever has sex and has a child, the darkness will then move away from Jackie and go to his son. That's how it works. So he just can't have a kid. As long as he doesn't have a kid, that's fine. He was able to have a daughter, because the darkness only goes to boys. He was able to have a daughter through, like, reality warping shenanigans. Like he essentially can create life, so he was able to create things. But the darkness essentially possessed his body, went to Sarah, had sex with her to create a daughter for its own purposes. It's not really important. But basically, if there's not something in the SCP Foundation that is capable of erasing a concept, the darkness is the concept of the dark itself. As long as darkness exists, so will the darkness, and the darkness is no longer something that just possesses Jackie, or Jackie is the host of. Jackie has actually supplanted the darkness and is the actual concept of the dark. But it should also be noted that the concept of darkness in the Top Cow universe it sort of signifies nothing. Even if you erase the concept of the dark and you leave nothing left, he will still be there, because they're still, like, they're kind of it's a confusing situation. But essentially, he's virtually impossible to get rid of. He is impossible to get rid of in the Top Cow universe. There might be something SCP has that can get rid of him, but it's not going to be through normal means. You can't lock him up either, because if you lock him up in a cage, he can literally appear anywhere where there's dark. Go ahead.
I actually have an idea for this one. Basically, what will happen is, more or less, I'm going to assume this would work. In the SCP universe, I don't know the actual number, but it's an object that basically, if you touch it against a mirror, you basically can travel through that mirror to another dimension. It's another dimension of a ruined civilization, and it's just terrible over there. It is fucking abysmal.
You objects like that?
Yeah, I know.
Let me just teleport you to the middle of some terrible place.
I don't think it would work, because Jackie is capable of traveling between dimensions. Like, he has his own darkness universe that he can go back and forth from.
But the thing is, the Foundation has tried multiple other things to go back to said universes. It doesn't work.
Yeah, but he's not just teleporting. The darkness is the concept of the dark.
No,
he exists in all places where darkness is.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
So you can't actually. It's not, like, what I'm saying is, you can't take Jackie and take him to another universe, because he's already in that universe, and he's already in your universe at the same time.
Okay, I get what Rouga's saying, though, because it is that as long as there is darkness in your universe, then the darkness exists.
Yeah, and he's there. No one in all of existence can speak near darkness, or he will hear it. He will see you if you enter darkness. He is darkness itself.
Is there any way to, like, neutralize those powers? Like, if he's surrounded by bright
early in the series?
I know.
Yes.
Wait.
Early in the series. Go ahead.
I actually have a way. Reality anchor.
That's
you
actually
forgot about. I almost forgot about that. Reality anchors are a ability of the Foundation that basically neutralizes and stops any type of reality warping or dimensional hopping ability. Basically, you're stuck. You can't leave.
It's not dimensional hopping. He simultaneously exists everywhere.
It does not matter. Jackie Estacado, the actual person, basically would be stuck there.
That's what I'm telling you. Jackie Estacado isn't a person anymore. He was originally, but he has supplanted the darkness itself. He is the dark. If the dark is somewhere, so is Jackie. That's him. Like, when you see darkness in your closet, that is Jackie. He is the very concept of darkness itself.
Okay, so it's planar. It's a planar being. Got it.
Yeah, this is talking about like end game Jackie. For a large portion of the story, Jackie's just a dude who has like dark powers, and if you hit him with light, he'll lose his dark powers, so you can fuck him up. Like that's how he is for a large majority of the story. But if we're talking about like end game Jackie, like end of series Jackie and shit,
I have it.
No, he's gone.
I have it. It took me a second, but now I got it. Jackie's still able to feel pain. He's still able to feel certain things, right? He's able to actually. You're able to drug him, correct? Somewhere like that.
Early, yeah, but no, not really. I mean, it could be that he just got used to pain. He doesn't feel it anymore. But like he's literally been obliterated to the point that he was nothing but a jawbone.
No, I'm not. I'm not talking about like obliteration. I'm talking about mentally fucking with him.
Before we keep going, let's make this clear to everybody. What version of Jackie are we using? Are we using like final form Jackie?
Well, okay, so I used So just to be clear, I'm using like the strongest versions of all these characters because you guys told me that SCP is like there's nothing that can compete with SCP, so I'm using the strongest I can get.
Yeah, no, I actually I'm okay with the strongest version of Jackie.
If it makes a more interesting story,
I wanted to make sure.
If it makes a more interesting conversation to use weaker versions, we can use weaker
versions.
No.
The strongest version is fine because
I wanted to make sure because you were talking about like the two different versions, and I was just kind of getting a little.
Yeah, I was just giving you a sort of explanation. But if we're using end of series version, if we're using like the absolute strongest version, he is the god of the Top Cow universe. He's the one who created the universe. Everything comes from him.
I'm going to grab a D class, give him a transport mod, and literally tell him to run at Jackie and grab onto him. He's going to transport him right in front of SCP-3000. It is a giant Mori eel that basically anything around gives off this black ichor. This black ichor is a mind-altering substance that basically makes you forget everything that you ever remembered.
There are mind-controlling stuff in Top Cow. I'm trying to think.
It's
if
not
you're making
control.
him, well, no. If you're making, well, no, I'm not saying mind control as in you do something and I'm telling you to do something you do. I'm saying mind control as in you are having control over someone's mind, ergo forcing them to forget everything. You're controlling their mind. You're not controlling them. That's what I'm talking about.
No, but it's nothing like that.
What is it?
It's literally it's not. You just forget. It's just a liquid that literally causes amnesia.
We're just arguing semantics. I'm saying it's controlling his mind. You're forcing his mind to forget. Ergo, you're controlling what his mind is doing. That's all I mean by control. Okay. I don't mean like it's Professor Xavier telling you what to do.
No.
But yeah, if you want to say make him forget, whatever. There are mind altering and things like that within the thing. I cannot remember a single instance of any of it ever actually working on him. The actual body of Jackie is not the body of Jackie. It's just essentially what he uses to interact with the world around him because he was born a man. So he just likes to take his normal form. He himself is just the essence of darkness and kind of the essence of more than that. He's considered a force of chaos and creation and the embodiment of darkness and all this kind of crazy, bullshit. Yeah. He chooses to look like that, but he's actually not a man. Like, whatever you do to Jackie's body isn't relevant because you're not actually doing anything to Jackie. It's just like an avatar of the greater darkness.
It does bring up a question, though.
What?
If you're even touch this shit, basically it starts consuming. It's a weird hybrid of like a virus / thing that it doesn't attack you, but it makes it so that way you just forget shit. It's slow but fast at the same time. You know what I mean? It's weird. Would it affect the parts of Jackie that aren't there? That's the question.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, can you make darkness forget? Like that's the thing. And I know it's a weird concept to think about, but like Jackie is unaffected by any time control abilities. He's unaffected by in his series mind control, physical anything that tries to affect his physical body or his perception.
I would like to bring in something that it would make sense to a degree. It would be like Alucard and Ultimate and Hellsing Ultimate
with the Schrodinger's shit where he kind of exists and also doesn't.
Yeah, I believe it would affect Jackie in the way that he basically just doesn't exist for about a couple, maybe a few decades, but then comes back.
Well, I don't know how you would make it so that he doesn't exist unless you would have to erase dark.
No, like it's not trying to erase darkness.
You have to. No, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
No, what I'm saying is it's making darkness forget about Jackie.
You can't because Jackie is darkness. That's what I'm trying to say. They're not two separate entities by the end of the series. Jackie is what darkness is. They're the same thing.
Yeah,
like the darkness, like if you ever played the darkness game,
yeah,
how you have Jackie and then you have the darkness that talks to him and interacts with him. Yeah. That doesn't exist in the comics towards the end. Like the darkness isn't an entity anymore. It's gone. Jackie has completely supplanted it. He is that thing now. The tentacles that come out and all that. He is that.
I think it would be more.
He's not a man anymore.
Yeah, but I think it would be like Jackie is having like a mental breakdown, trying to remember shit, but then forgetting, but then remembering, but then forgetting.
Well, what Rouga is telling us is that he can't be forced to forget because at this point he's not a human anymore. He just has a human form.
I get that. What I'm saying
is, can you throw this stuff in your closet and make the darkness in your closet forget shit?
Well, no. What I'm saying is it would hit the avatar.
But the avatar is not Jackie.
That's
what it's literally just his way of interacting with the world.
Okay.
It's also just that the avatar isn't really necessary. So like the avatar is essentially just a way to interact with the world.
Yeah, okay.
It's a very conceptual idea for a character for sure, but if we're talking about the absolute strongest version of Jackie, the only reason why he's a man in a man's form is because he likes being a man. He was born a man. He likes having sex with women, and he likes drinking and doing all the stuff that men do, but he's not a man.
I would say that there would be one entity I think would probably want to get rid of him just because he is the concept of darkness.
What's that?
343.
You gotta give
I'm not gonna use him as a scapegoat all the time because he doesn't really interfere. It's basically the biblical god.
Oh no, it's not. It's not.
But he's more like an interdimensional being that has the ability to create a race and other shit of that nature. He's not actually God.
Yes, SCP-343 is a male humanoid SCP, which has a lot of powers, but the Foundation wiki that you have is not necessarily something you can trust. It's an unreliable narrator.
Yeah.
Because SCP-343 alters the minds of all of the subjects in the site that it stays at. And it is willingly contained. So it wants to be thought of as God, but it's probably not. Based on the context clues you get. So
yeah, but at
it's also not related to Abel or Cain in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, it's weird. It has the power to manipulate its surroundings, though, but it doesn't. It's just...
It is very odd. It's more like a mind-altering SCP than anything else. I wouldn't even necessarily say that it can really deal with Jackie, and I would probably say that Jackie would be classified immediately as Apollyon and would just be considered a WK class end of the world scenario.
Yeah, and at that point, it's just, hey, bring on the Scarlet King and just wipe everything from existence. There you go.
Well, either that, or they'd try to negotiate with Jackie and get him to be like, hey, could you, not be a dick?
Yeah, exactly. Which,
to be fair, his dickishness is, for his ridiculous power, his dickishness is contained to his general vicinity. The one thing about him is that he is this godlike being, but he still kind of thinks of himself as a man and still behaves in that of a man. So when he's a dick, it's usually to people. He's not usually a dick in a way that affects the entire world or country or universe. He was that one time when he erased it all because he just didn't like the way his life was going. But then when he recreated it the way he wanted it, he didn't really fuck with it all that much anymore. So
I don't think the Foundation would fuck with Jackie because, quite honestly, why would they even intervene? He's being self-destructive. I mean, at the point that you're talking about, he's kind of self-destructive, and it's just, let's just leave him.
He would be, if he was a man. If he was a man, he would be self-destructive. But he can't die, or he can't kill himself.
Yeah. And at that point,
he's not really. His self-destruction can take the form of destruction of other people. It's just not a super huge...
Yeah.
He's only erased the universe once. What's the odds that he'll do it again? You know? It's one of those situations. He could, but he only did it once because he was really in a low place. And he probably won't do it again to the SCP Foundation. He'll probably just go and find some city with a crime lord, kill everybody, take it over, rule it, and then have sex with a lot of women, do some drugs, just rule and chill out. And he will only really deal with other people because they come from... The reason why he deals with shit in his story is usually because people are constantly trying to like acquire his power, but nobody can take it from him.
Yeah.
And that's where most of his stories come from, is like people who are more evil than Jackie wanting Jackie's power for like world domination and shit. Jackie's evil, but he's not really interested in taking over the entire universe of the world or ruling with an iron fist.
Exactly.
So it's just not.
And again, Rouga, we basically just go down to the 001 proposals, and we're just going to go with Scarlet King. Because, quite frankly, the Scarlet King is basically an interdimensional being that's so powerful. The moment he steps into a universe, if it is not up to a certain degree, it's erased.
I mean, it would mean that he does the same thing that Jackie can do, just passively, as opposed to actually doing it.
And at that point, it's just Jackie. There's nothing. There's literally nothing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The darkness is a stand-in for it symbolizes nothing in the Top Cow universe. So like, even if you erase the darkness from existence, he will.
I think we found a good way. I think we found a good way to subdue the Scarlet King. Then Jesus.
I think they would just like meet each other, basically.
I feel like
probably...
Jackie is essentially like Jackie and the Scarlet King would essentially be the two at the end of time just sitting down at like a cosmic table having a discussion.
Yeah, but I don't think Scarlet King would want to do that, because Jackie is, I think, for like a god, you know? Like, he is a god technically, but he doesn't act like a god, and he's not as old as a god should be. I feel like Scarlet King would feel like he was talking to a fucking rowdy teenager who has godlike powers.
Oh,
he would not enjoy
Scarlet
Jackie's.
King would be irritated as fuck.
He would be so annoyed. He's like, who the fuck gave you these powers? Like, what were they thinking? Yeah, well, see, the whole thing is that the darkness before Jackie supplanted it, it is a force of chaos and creation. It has no interest in control. It just likes to sit back and see the fucking shit that it does.
Oh, no.
So giving its power to someone like Jackie is like its favorite thing in the world.
I just had the worst thought. What's the worst
thought?
Jackie meeting 682.
Oh god, that would be terrible.
That would be terrible.
Why would that be terrible?
682
we've told you, he's the extremely hard to kill lizard.
Yeah.
And that lizard has the intelligence level higher than Bruce Banner. That lizard is already a massive threat to everything, right? Like, they put the lizard in a room with a sentient AI, and the two of them conversed for hours, and the AI ended up learning so much more and became even more violent towards the Foundation. So if Jackie were to meet the hard-to-contain lizard, the lizard would probably just start whispering in Jackie's ear until the point that it got enough power that it could just take that.
I'm going the opposite direction with this. I'm saying 682 would see Jackie as a threat.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
And then immediately attack him. Jackie kills him. Okay, cool. I regenerated and I'm mutated, so now your shit that you just killed...
Well,
okay,
I mean, can he be erased from existence?
No.
Technically not.
No,
it's a multi-dimensional being.
Literally. 682 has literally... And I'm not joking, this is canon towards everybody. The actual writer made a joke of him erasing 682 from the SCP universe, and 682 went, nah fam, I'm in that bitch, and rewrote himself.
So this wouldn't be like a Green Door situation.
This is just two cosmic beings that can't really die fighting each other until the end of time.
Yeah, it would basically be like a being who can infinitely get more powerful against a being who has infinite power.
Imagine Doomsday.
And then Scarlet Witch or Scarlet King steps into the middle of it and just is what the fuck?
It sounds like 682 is better than Doomsday, because Doomsday only adapts once it dies. Well, that's not true. Originally, it only adapts. It does adapt more now, but I think people exaggerate Doomsday's adaptation powers. His adaptation powers are good, but I would argue even Hulk's adaptation powers are considerably better than Doomsday.
Rouga, I'm about to blow your fucking mind real quick. 682 is the son of the Scarlet King.
So wait, would the Scarlet King not be able to kill 682?
No,
the Scarlet King cannot kill 682.
No, the only person that can kill 682 is the Scarlet King, because he has his soul. That's why 682 cannot die. He does not have a soul to perspirate. It's not there.
Oh,
yeah. So
I know who can kill 682.
So do I on this list, but also. To that point, I don't think Hulk can get rid of 682 by that logic.
Well, no, it can. He can't die per se, but I would imagine like bits and pieces of the body just disappearing.
Well, Hulk would just be able to send him into any hell that he wanted to, and then once he was in that hell, he would just close the door, which would basically not allow him to come back. Like you could say that it's not necessarily killing him, but he would trap him in another dimension.
It would essentially be
him
neutralizing him.
Yeah, it's containing to neutralize.
Well, yeah, by that logic, I think we've covered everything for Jackie Estacado, or the Darkness, because there is literally nothing that the SCP Foundation can really do there. He would probably be left alone for the most part.
I don't
maybe just asked not to be a
I just thought of something that's terrifying. Dan, I just thought of something that was terrifying. 096, Shy Guy. Oh no. Oh, that's not good.
You gotta explain 096 to me. I don't know who that is.
Okay, 096 is known as Shy Guy. If anybody sees Shy Guy's face, he immediately will try to kill and consume you. Jackie sees him. What the fuck happens?
Well, he tries to consume him, but nothing happens. I mean, is Shy Guy invincible? Like,
He's
can he not?
indestructible. He cannot die. They have tried multiple
times. Can he be
times.
erased?
He cannot be erased. They've tried multiple times. He has ripped through dimensions to get people. He has traveled to the moon.
It just sounds like he would constantly keep trying to consume him, and it wouldn't be able to. I feel like eventually he'd get bored and leave. I mean, unless he just keeps trying forever.
He keeps going. He followed a fucker to the moon.
How do you follow someone who's everywhere, though?
I don't know. That's the part I'm getting at. Like
he's everywhere.
Like, no. If Jackie ever made an avatar, it immediately knows where it's at and goes after it.
Well, what if it erases the avatar and then makes another avatar,
or
makes millions of avatars?
It's the consciousness. It remembers the consciousness.
Well, his consciousness is everywhere.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know what will happen.
Okay, so essentially, a breakdown of SCP-96 is that as soon as somebody looks at its face, or like via a video recording, a photograph, just by looking directly at its face, they then get branded 96-1. And SCP-96 essentially becomes, if you ever heard the, would you take $1 million, but there's a snail from somewhere on the world that's trying to get to you to kill you? Like, it essentially becomes that. It will just follow you anywhere at a maximum of 35 kilometers per hour. Or no, from a minimum of 35 kilometers per hour to a maximum of unknown, and will just keep running until it gets to you.
Well, I mean, why would you ever accept that? 35 is pretty fucking fast. It'll get to you pretty quick. At least with like the It Follows creature, which I'm starting to think that the It Follows creature is a ripoff of this guy. Yeah, the It Follows creature walks at a very, very slow pace.
So the thing with this is that, like, you only look at its face. Like, as soon as you look at its face, that's when
you're branded, basically.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have ever seen It Follows, but
I have.
Yeah, you have sex in the thing, and then
yeah.
It's like a thing. But it sounds like it's basically the exact same concept, just lesser.
Yeah,
no, so it moves at insane speeds.
Yeah, so then why would you ever do it? Why would you choose to do that if you knew that that's too fast for that to be a viable option to ever
The reason that
it's
been contained is because somebody looked at it and then they went, "Oh shit, that thing's running." But then they managed to capture it without looking at its face. So
cover
now
it with a bag.
So now it's in a safe space, and like it can't really harm anybody. But in this scenario, if the darkness were to look at it, it would then brand the darkness itself, and I guess would start running around the world until all darkness was eliminated, which isn't possible.
It's like an Ouroboros weird concept. Even if Jackie said make an avatar that's a different person, it's still the darkness, so it's still branded, so it still goes after.
But the problem is that I don't think you'd be able to find Jackie's avatar because
automatically knows where.
All of darkness would be its consciousness. It would it wouldn't see Jackie as any different than like the darkness inside your room or in a back alley somewhere.
It would just be running.
It would just sense him everywhere.
All of the darkness is eliminated in the world. At which point, I guess it would just start going crazy. Like I really have no clue how that would work.
It's a weird concept. It's a fucking weird concept. I just figured I'd throw it out there because it's just like.
I just think the thing would just run around not being able to do anything, really.
Would it start running at the speed of light to create light? Like,
I don't think that's how light works. I don't think that's how light works.
I don't either, but like that's the only way I can think that it would finally get past that. It is a never-ending creature. Like, it would continue going until it gets rid of the thing it
I
has
mean,
branded as
I
-1.
imagine it would just be caught by something. I mean, if it can be locked up and captured, I imagine that's what would probably happen.
It's,
Well,
it's
it-
only docile because the Foundation
killed
captured it
somebody.
after it killed its last victim.
So it would be able to escape its containment if it saw something.
Yes, if
Yeah.
it saw someone, it would be able to escape its containment.
Okay, fair enough.
It's basically, and here's the next.
I don't think
word
Jackie
that-
would be really bothered by it, to be honest. I just
Well,
think this guy
here's
would just
the-
be running around. Actually, it would probably keep people safe because
Actually-
it would be going after something it can't do anything about. And
It's-
so,
yeah,
what would
that's-
happen if other people saw it while it was
It wouldn't
chasing
go
Jackie?
after him. It wouldn't go after him because
So
it-
he would essentially make it. He would essentially
Neutralize
defang.
it.
He would defang it. Yeah.
he'd neutralize it.
He'd
Which is
neutralize
so
it,
weird.
but then there'd just be a really weird-looking human running around the world.
Just like clawing dark alleyways and shit, just being like, "What the fuck is happening?"
100%. Yeah, that
It would look like a homeless person running super fast all around the world, just
Well, no.
crazy, yelling
ever
at the side
seen-
of buildings and shit.
Have you ever seen the Until Dawn like Wendigo?
Yeah.
That's basically 096. It's basically a tall, lanky motherfucker that's hairless, no hair at all, and just running around scratching at walls. That's it. It's so fucking weird.
Okay, so I think we're done with Jackie for now, right?
Yeah, because it's
Okay.
like
Now,
it's-
one thing-
he's at the end of time thing.
One thing I do want to bring up, this actually isn't on the list, but y'all kind of brought this up sort of. With SCP-682, you said that he can't die because his soul isn't in his body. His soul, the Scarlet King has a soul, right? That's what y'all
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
Hellboy actually fights against a character who is essentially like Voldemort, basically. He's removed his soul from his body and he is separated in a bunch of different locations, and this makes him extremely hard to kill. When Hellboy kills him, because Hellboy kills him with the right arm of Doom, it actually still destroys fractions of his soul, which is not supposed to happen. He's supposed to be completely invulnerable as long as his soul is out of his body. If Hellboy showed up in the SCP universe and attacked 682 and was able to kill him, technically, unless I'm missing something, he should be able to destroy 682's soul even if Scarlet King has it.
That's the
Well,
problem.
no, that really depends. In Hellboy, isn't the enemy he fights, his soul is still in that same universe, right?
It's unclear, like one of them he trapped in Idrisil. We don't know if Idrisil is actually, it's not like stated whether or not it's in the universe or not, but basically there's like this sort of folklore look area they go to in the comics a lot of times, but we're not entirely sure if it's a different universe or if it's just another part of Earth. I'll just say it's kind of unclear,
So
but
There's
Operating
only-
under the assumption that it's all in the same universe, Scarlet King exists outside of the universe. So unless Hellboy's powers can quite literally transcend the multiverse,
kind of, yeah. So, with the right arm of Doom, the reason why everyone wants Hellboy and why he constantly is under attack and shit is because they're trying to get him to open up a door into another universe to let the Abdu Jihad in, which is basically Cthulhu monsters. They're cosmic godlike beings who want to come in. The right hand of Doom originally was a hand that belonged to this sort of angelic being that helped create and structure the multiverse, and it has crazy abilities. But yes, he can, with his hand, open up realms to the other universes. By the end of the series, he can freely travel between Hell and Earth with his abilities, and that's using the right hand of Doom. So he should be able to affect things in other
Okay.
universes just fine.
I think there should be a crucial piece of evidence just thrown here. The soul is with the Scarlet King. There has been multiple people that have tried to kill 682 by destroying the soul. I'm going to say this right now. It doesn't really work. Scarlet King literally just makes a copy of the soul and puts it back in the body. Basically.
Okay, see you said put it back in I thought you said the whole thing was that the soul wasn't in the body.
So
it's weird.
it's
a-
essentially once they destroy the soul, Scarlet King creates a new one, puts it into the body, and then takes the soul out of the body again once the
Yeah.
body's been reanimated.
It's-
Okay. Well, so it's not necessarily that a 682 is unkillable. It's that it has Daddy is essentially keeping it alive.
Pretty much. And Daddy's
Okay.
a multi-dimensional god, so...
So if that's the case, then okay. Well, I mean, so basically, you would just the way to kill 682 would be to have a character, another multi-dimensional god that can kill Scarlet King.
Exactly.
Yes. However, I see somebody on this list who could kill 682 without that. So
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I can see him, too.
I'm sure we'll get there.
Maybe.
Because you guys were kind of saying that SCP is sort of its own, like it's kind of a more calm universe than I was expecting. We do have Kratos on this list, did you guys think that there's anything interesting we could talk about with Kratos entering this world at all?
I don't think so.
If it's like as chill as you guys are saying it is.
I don't think there's anybody that would fuck with him to their own detriment.
Wait, because this is specifically Greek version of Kratos that you have written here. So
Do you mean God of War Kratos or Greek universe, Greek god?
he means
I mean the original games, not the Norse not the Norse games.
Oh, okay.
Like Kratos from God of War 3.
No, I don't think there's anything we need to talk about.
the whole reason he goes after the gods of Olympus is because he's just angry, right?
It's an oversimplification. But I mean, I guess.
So what are his actual motivations? Because like if he has more intricate motivations than that, then there might be something he would do in the SCP world. But honestly, I can't really see it because I don't.
Essentially, he hates himself and he's lashing out at the gods. So he blames the gods for everything bad that happened to him, despite the fact that they didn't actually do anything necessarily. Pretty much everything bad that's happened to Kratos in his life is his fault, and he basically is going after the gods because he's trying to kill himself and they didn't let him do it originally. So at the end of God of War 1, he's having nightmares because he killed his family, which he blames Ares for, despite the fact that he did it himself with his own bare hands, and he goes out to kill Ares partially for revenge, but also partially because the gods tell him that we'll forgive you. They never actually say we'll cure you of your nightmares. He asks them if they can cure him of his nightmares, and they say your sins will be forgiven. He goes out and does it, and then they tell him we can't cure your nightmares. So he tries to kill himself by throwing himself off of a mountain, and then they don't let him die, and they're like, no. There's no God of War. You killed Ares. You're going to be the new God of War. He's sort of really fucking pissed off that he can't get rid of his nightmares, and also can't die because they won't let him. So he lashes out by starting and going after and attacking all of their cities and going to war with all of them and taking over and shit, becoming a conqueror just like Ares was. This causes Zeus to try to kill Kratos finally, but after he kills him, Kratos comes back. Basically, nothing is solving Kratos' biggest issue. His main, like, if you really boil down Kratos' character, he absolutely hates himself for killing his own family, and nothing that happens, even death, cures him of that self-hatred that he has. So he lashes out at literally everything.
And his
that's
mind
essentially.
Be altered. Is there anything that he can be affected by mind?
He can have mind altering occasions.
He's resisted it. He's not immune to it, but he has resisted it in the past.
Give that motherfucker 999.
No, not 999. Just put him near 343. Problem solved.
What's 343?
343 is the pseudo god that we talked about. 343's whole thing is that he tries to make everybody around him very happy and makes them all forget about like what their normal life is, and makes them think that their normal life is just being in a good mood, in a good state of mind. There's nothing wrong, essentially. And his powers are so strong that he has actually overcome certain SCPs as well.
Okay. Yeah. He does have very high resistance to mind control and different forms of mind manipulation. If that does work, you can even say that Kratos might willingly go and seek this person out in order to give him that. That's literally what he's trying to do, is to get rid of the night. He wants to get rid of his guilt.
So far, we've had Hulk living happily ever after and Kratos living happily ever after.
What the fuck is this universe?
The SCP universe is just great for these rage guys. Let's fucking throw Ashura in there too. Let's get his problem solved.
Something too. Like, throw 999. Give Kratos 999. He'll sleep like a fucking baby.
Give Kratos 999 and 343.
Like, fuck, give this man a break.
Is this temporary, or like if he gets reminded of his daughter at some point that he murdered her, will it come back?
343 will change the chemical pathways in your brain permanently.
And 999 pieces
is
of 999
constant.
have
999 is constant.
This is something true though. 999 has been able to cure military personnel by giving pieces of itself to them to digest. It actually cures them of PTSD.
So
that would
the whole slime.
that would likely, if it can get past his mental manipulations, which you guys are saying that it's pretty powerful, so possibly it can. If it can get past that, then you basically cured Kratos' whole issues in the original series.
What the fuck is this universe?
And he didn't have to go through 2 shitty Norse games in order to do it. So
we have Hulk living happily ever after, Doomguy in a coma, Jackie Estacado fucking off to New York, and Kratos living happily ever after.
Nobody dies. Everyone's fine in the SCP Foundation universe.
That's kind of funny for what the universe is.
Yeah, well, like I said, I didn't know anything about the universe. People have asked me to.
Can get dark, but like this is just.
But like
Fuck.
none of these guys are really like villains. Like
Well,
Jackie
Jackie
Scotto's
is.
a villain.
Jackie's a villain,
Jackie's a villain, but we went over Jackie. Like he's not really gonna mess with the Foundation too much, and as long as
We're gonna get to. There's some villains on the list. There's some villains on the list.
I can see some of them. Like,
Yeah, we'll add some more. I mean, fuck, I could put Helldivers in there. They try to
oh my
they try
god,
to
yes,
invade them.
Super Earth versus the SCP Foundation. I would love to
But
see that.
we can add it to the list. Because there's a couple of these that I think we could probably remove.
Yeah,
like
we probably can remove. I don't think Chainsaw Man needs to
No,
stay on
leave
there.
Chainsaw Man. I don't
really?
think we need
Because I think
Sammy on
Chainsaw Man would be very similar.
No,
to, like,
he would
Doomguy-
not.
Doomguy and
he
stuff.
would not. No, he would
Chainsaw
not.
Chainsaw Man is the one that I was thinking of that could kill 682 permanently.
Yeah, permanent.
Because he could
yeah.
devour the concept of 682, or just devour 682, which would then.
But that would just
make
be
a Scarlet
existence
King.
erasure. You guys said that existence erasure doesn't work on
except
682.
except it's not.
It's the
Chainsaw
concept.
Man's Chainsaw Man's specific ability is to erase concepts. So it would essentially erase 682 from the mind of Scarlet King, which means that Scarlet King would then not remake 682.
Well, just to be clear, Jackie can also erase concepts as well. He creates and erases concepts. So
Well, then 682's gone, but then
He would technically be
Scarlet
able to
King
do
just
that.
comes in and goes, "The fuck you did to my kid!"
basically, I mean, it sounds like Scarlet King could possibly be strong enough to just recreate him from scratch. I mean, he might not be the exact
But
same.
I don't know that he necessarily would, because like we've seen in Chainsaw Man's universe, when the Chainsaw Man ate the demon of Nazis,
everyone
Nazis
forgets
never
them.
existed.
Yeah, well, okay, so anything of that concept, people forget that it ever existed. But this is the part that makes it a little odd. Things were created that were based on that concept don't go away. So, for instance, at one point in the manga, he ate the ear devil. So ears ceased to exist. Everyone in the entire universe didn't have ears, like EAR, ear, like hearing.
There
right?
were people who were scared enough of ears to make a devil about it.
There's a devil for literally everything, because there's a tomato devil, there's a chicken devil, there's a fears for everything. So he ate.
Oh my god!
So he ate,
just erase tomatoes.
yeah. There's a tomato devil. So he erased ears, and then no one had ears. However, despite the fact that nobody had ears, they still had phones, and people were still had language and were aware of language, but they weren't aware that ears were never a thing. They lose that one concept, but any concept that's tied to that concept is still exists. So it's sort of a confusing thing where it's like,
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
So the SCP Foundation would still have all the assets that they created to neutralize 682, but would forget why they created.
They would know why those assets exist. Yeah,
Exactly.
So basically, it's the penny situation. There's a joke SCP called the penny. I'm not joking. It's a fucking anomalous penny that just makes you think it's anomalous. That's it. That's all it does. There's nothing else. It's a penny. Even the fucking list of the shit is, it's just a penny.
What does it do? No, it's just
Absolutely
penny.
nothing. Like
Like, it's
literally,
like
its
the
whole
universe
purpose
is
to
so-
make you think that
the
it's an
universe
anomaly.
is so fucked up that no one will buy that that's just a normal penny.
Exactly. So
we don't
stupid.
believe you. We don't believe you. What's the catch? There isn't a catch, I promise
That's
you.
exactly what it is. It's somebody
just a
found this
penny.
penny one day, and they thought it was anomalous. So now everybody thinks that the penny is anomalous, but it's just a normal copper penny.
Maybe it actually it's a penny that makes people paranoid.
Well,
Maybe,
there's also,
but it's just a penny.
There's also 055, which is an anti-memetic.
Oh yeah, that's so amnestics are something that the SCP Foundation has derived from the fluid of SCP-3000.
Which
And-
basically makes you forget anything for a while. There's an SCP called 055. There's no little catchy title or anything. It just makes you forget what you saw. It doesn't. You don't know what it looks like, but we know it's there.
Okay.
So we know that its existence is there, but the minute you look at it, you forget what it is.
It's like Forget Me Not in Marvel.
Oh, so it's kind of Chainsaw Man like, sort of, but temporarily.
Yeah.
That gotcha. Okay. So for Chainsaw Man, other than the ability to erase 682, it seems like he would, and this is why I was kind of thinking about taking him off the list. because he seems like he would just do the same shit that he does in Chainsaw Man, which essentially he would probably be hired on by the Foundation to go after anomalies, and he would work for them willingly as long as they gave him food and paid for his housing.
You would think. I don't think you would go with the Foundation.
Why?
For a couple of things, but I think he would be more inclined to go with the GOC.
Probably, because he seems more the type to want to devour concepts that have a lot of fear so he can grow stronger.
No, Denji doesn't care about that.
Well, you didn't say Denji, you said Chainsaw Man.
Well, no, Chainsaw. No, I mean there is, but Denji is Denji. Well, Chainsaw Man doesn't care about anything except Denji's happiness. So,
okay, then if we're going by that logic, then yeah.
Chainsaw Man just wants whatever Denji. Like Chainsaw Man willingly gave up its heart to Denji, and the deal was you can have my heart and my life and all that. It's yours to save your life, and in return, I get to see out of your eyes so that I can see you achieve all of your dreams and goals. That was the only caveat to the deal that was made. Now, normally devils give really fucked up deals, but because Chainsaw Man,
go watch Chainsaw Man.
It's a really good series.
Go watch Chainsaw Man. It's a really good.
Oh, you can go read it. The anime is a pretty good adaptation. It's just not very far along. The manga is like 180 chapters. It's really solid. But
from the sounds of it, though, it sounds like Denji would probably become a Thaumiel class, and the SCP Foundation would just be like, "Hey, do what you want to do."
Yeah,
we'll call on you if we need you.
At the start of Denji's life, his father was like a bum, basically. His father was in really deep with a mob, and then he died. That debt was put onto Denji at a very young age. He was like 6 years old. And he's like, "You're going to pay us back, and if you don't, we're going to come to your house every week to collect the money. If you don't have it, we're going to kill you." So Denji, from the age of like, I don't remember, it was like 6 or 8 or something, it was very, very young. He had to go out and earn money every single week and give all of the money that he earns to the mafia. By the time he was like high school age, he had never been to school. He had sold his kidney. He was missing an eye. He could only ever afford to eat bread.
Testicles.
Yeah, he sold one of his testicles to serve them. He lived out of a random shack that was abandoned. The only food that he ate was bread, and his only dream that Denji had was to eat bread with jam on it, because he's never been able to afford jam to put on the bread. That was his only dream. I'm not going to go into the whole story of Chainsaw Man, but basically he was about as low as a human being can get. He's essentially, you can't even call him a human. He was more like a dog. The whole point of the part 1 is him basically learning how to become a man or a human, and essentially learning to desire things and to want to do more with his life than just exist. Denji, at the moment in the story, he wants a girlfriend. He wants someone who cares about him and loves him. He wants good food. He wants a place to live. He just wants the normal amenities that people have. That's all he wants, and he's happy as long as he has that. So if he goes up to the Foundation and the Foundation says like, yeah, hey, we'll give you this, and this. Hey, you want to work with this pretty girl, by the way, while you go on this, like, that's all. He's totally cool, and Chainsaw Man will be totally cool being that. The only time Chainsaw Man comes out is when Denji is so fucking miserable that he breaks their deal, which is essentially he's no longer living his dreams, which is just being happy. So Chainsaw Man can only come out when Denji is absolutely at his most like low bottom, absolutely miserable. That's when Chainsaw Man comes out, and he is stupidly fucking powerful for that universe. Like that's where he could start erasing people.
I mean,
by the way, Denji can't erase people without Chainsaw Man. Just to be clear.
The only time that Chainsaw Man would ever come out in this scenario would be if Denji was sent on a mission where something happened and he was under the effects of a mind-altering SCP or something along those lines.
Yeah, because
that's the only thing I can really think of.
Like the whole of, again, I don't want to spoil. If you do end up wanting to get into the series, I don't want to spoil it. But basically, a big part of part 1 is that Denji is so miserable in his normal life and content with being miserable that it's impossible to make him miserable. That's a very big part of this, like, he has to go through a lot of stuff before he actually he has to acquire something that he doesn't want to lose in order for that to even be possible for him. Denji, if we're distinguishing the two, Denji will not be capable of erasing 682 because that's only an ability that, as far as we know, that is only an ability that Chainsaw Man has, and Chainsaw Man is not in control of Denji unless he's super fucking miserable. Which sounds like it's not going to happen in the Foundation. Unless the Foundation wants to go out of his way to make him miserable, but they would have to, like, kill everything he cares about in his entire life in order for that to happen.
if they knew what would happen, they wouldn't do that. Or if they did do that, they'd try to undo it as fast as possible. So,
well, Chainsaw Man isn't Chainsaw Man. He's one of the few devils that are not straight up evil. Like when Chainsaw Man comes out, he's uncaring kind of, but all Chainsaw Man cares about when he comes out is to make Denji happy again. Chainsaw Man kind of has the mind of like a child. When Chainsaw Man came out the first time, he kidnapped a girl. He brought her to a restaurant, got her a burger, sat down, like she's crying the whole time eating this burger. Then he like kidnapped her and went to the arcade, and then like forced her to dance on this thing. It's really like kind of horrifying to watch and sort of funny. But all it is Chainsaw Man, like in his mind, trying to have Denji go on a date with a pretty girl because that's something that Denji wants. But it takes the form of him kidnapping a woman and dragging her to all these locations. But he's just trying to make Denji happy because he's desperately wants Denji to come back, because Denji goes away if he's miserable. It's a really good series. You should go read the series if you haven't.
So,
yeah.
So yeah, from the sounds of it, like if Denji were to show up in the SCP universe, they might do some initial testing where they like make him think that they took everything away, or where they actually do take everything away. At which point, when Chainsaw Man comes out, they'd be like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, and then give him everything back. And then be like, okay, let's never do that again.
Yeah, Chainsaw Man just wants him to be happy. That's all he wants. He's not gonna look for revenge. I mean, he kills people, but he doesn't kill people because he's looking for revenge. He kills people usually because he's indifferent to the lives of others that aren't Denji. That's essentially why people die by Chainsaw Man. Not necessarily because Chainsaw Man himself is cruel or maniacal in any way. He's not maniacal. Malicious? No, maleficent.
Malevolent.
Whatever. Malevolent. Thank you, Jesus Christ. Okay, yeah, but yeah. So for the most part, I literally think it's going to be the exact same thing that the Chainsaw Man series is, or at least part one of the Chainsaw Man series. Where Denji is just going to work for one of the foundations, and they're going to like give him food and shelter and stuff like that, and he'll meet people in the foundation and become friends, and as long as he's doing that, Denji is perfectly happy. He might at some point be like, I want to try going to school. Like I want to have a normal life and go to school and stuff. And the foundation might send him to school because he wants to go to school, and then he'll do the fighting and stuff with the SCPs or hunting the SCPs after school. It's gonna be
why the fuck
basically
does that
identical.
sound like a really fucking good TV show?
Because it is. It already exists.
Because
It's Chainsaw Man.
No.
That's exactly what happens.
Like, why does that sound like a good TV show? Like, there's a anomalous kid that actually can control his powers going to high school, but also going to help the Foundation fight off. Why does that sound like a really good TV show?
Because it is, and
It's
it exists.
Chainsaw Man.
It's Chainsaw Man. That's literally what it's about. It's
Or
not. I mean, it's not the
Kaizen.
Foundation, but it is. It's in the show. He actually works for a government-run devil hunter organization. But that's exactly what the show is about. So it's
I understand that. What I'm saying is SCP oriented.
Well, they can, but they'd be ripping off Chainsaw Man. Just putting it out there.
Yeah, so if we do the Lamb, like
From
the
what?
Lamb whole thing is
Exactly.
about the
Cult of the
Lamb
Lamb.
from Cult of the Lamb. So from
Oh,
the
okay.
Land to the Old Faith. The Lamb is a character who's all about giving himself more power, and he doesn't care what means he does that through. So in the SCP universe, he would establish his own cult immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, he would essentially build his own faction within the SCP universe, have a bunch of cult people join him, whether by force or, because he can actually like mentally mind fuck them and force them to join him.
You know the sad part is, you're probably gonna hate me for this, but I just think the Foundation would treat him like any other of the 20 million cults they have on.
Except they wouldn't be able to, because the Lamb would gain power at an exponential rate compared to those cults. Those cults have been around since the inception of the Foundation. The Lamb's cult, within a few weeks, would grow to the size that it can't be ignored anymore.
Yeah, the Lamb himself is not like a normal person. By the end of the story, he's the god of death. The more people who are devoted to him and the more devotion they have towards him increases his power. Every time he dies and comes back, that increases his power. He's this anamorphic lamb with a lot of dark magic powers, who basically just continuously increases in power and influence across everybody that he comes into contact with.
Does he get to bring the goat with him? Because if so, then there's two of them.
if we're using his entire cult, like because that's not just one character, but yeah, I mean, if we're just taking his entire cult and bringing his whole cult into the SCP Foundation, then the goat would be a part of it, and they would come along with him. And it should also be noted that the goat is actually more sadistic and evil than the lamb is.
Yes.
The lamb wants power, but the goat actually enjoys the suffering of others, which is something that the lamb doesn't necessarily have. And
they are both gods of death, so essentially the lamb would be a Keter class end of the world scenario event, because
I don't know if he'd be end of the world, because like even at his most powerful that we've seen him, like the most impressive thing we see is Narendra can grow to be dwarf the size of a mountain range. But as far as like, we never see the lamb just like destroy an island or destroy like a country or
I'm
do
not saying
anything
he
like
would
that.
Destroy the world. I'm saying he would be an end of the world class scenario, because
if
he
he's
would
not,
essentially
keep
control
growing
the entire world.
Yeah, so basically, if he's not locked to the lands of the old faith and he's just on a planet, he could just continually increase his influence basically until it spreads across the entire world, and he can mind fuck the shit out of people. And even people are like, oh, you think they wouldn't join? He literally indoctrinates them via black magic.
Yeah.
So they don't have a choice of joining him, and then their devotion to him would give him more power. And as long as he has people who are devoted to him, he cannot die. You would have to kill every single person who's devoted to him.
No, he can also bring back his followers from the dead.
Yeah, he can revive them. So what you would have to do, you would have to kill all of his followers, leave them dead for at least 3 days, because that's how long it takes him to die after he has no followers. He has to have no followers for 3 days. And also restrain him long enough so that he doesn't bring any of them back within those 3 days. And that's really the only known way of killing the lamb. Other than that, like I said, he's a god of death who could travel between dimensions, and death is just kind of irrelevant to him.
And has perfect information anywhere his cult is.
Basically.
So if you start killing off his followers, he's just going to teleport to wherever that follower died.
I think I have a way to kill him. GOC sneaks in, steals all the followers, takes them to a location, kills them all. Then, as soon as the lamb and the goat show up, activate reality warping or reality anchors and just lays into them.
Actually, might be possible.
You have to remind me what the reality anchor is again.
It basically stops them from like extra-dimensional jumping or anything of that nature.
So it would stop the lamb from any of his portaling.
Well, I guess you kill all the people and then you just wait the 3 days. Okay. Yeah, well, the only argument I would have for that is whether or not he would be unaware that you're taking them. You'd have to be able to take them all very quickly before he can react to it, basically. And it depends on how many followers he has. Like, so if you catch him early on...
Yeah, it would really depend on when you catch him. Like, if you catch him within the first day or two, maybe. If you catch him after a week, it's too fucking late at that point.
Yeah, if he has hundreds or thousands of followers, or if he's, like, filled a whole city with followers, you're not going to be able to do unless you could teleport an entire city, like,
unless you just
population of a city into the sun or some shit, and kill them all immediately. Yeah, honestly, it would probably get to the point that the influence of the lamb would reach people within the Foundation. It would only have to reach one employee within the Foundation.
It would not.
None of them live.
There is a specific MTF for that reason.
Yeah, there is.
The cauterizer.
The Foundation has access to amnestics, like we already said. They do have tons of surveillance. All employees undergo a psych eval every day. The Foundation has tons of stuff.
Their psych eval wouldn't come in different.
It does.
It would only. Well, I mean, the only thing that would change about their psyche at this point is that basically they would have like found a new religion. It wouldn't be super obvious immediately. It would just be like if someone was like, oh, I converted to Christianity, but instead it would be like.
I hate to bring it to you, but the Foundation is that stingy that they will look into you if you fucking change
religions. The Foundation would look at you and be like, okay, bye.
Something's wrong. What's going on? What happened?
Or they'd erase your memory right away of like everything you've done for the Foundation.
Exactly.
They are that strict.
They are super strict.
Yeah, like, I'll take your word for it.
No, like, just so that way we're clear on this, there is a site where they house Kid Cthulhu. We're not going to get into the basics of that guy. We're just going to say this. He has the ability where if you're around him for a certain amount of time, you basically become a cult member unbeknownst to him. He doesn't really want them, but you become a cult member. They literally have strict rules. Once you enter, you can only be in this site for a certain amount of hours. If you go past that, there is an electronic monitor. It goes from green to yellow, meaning that you're over the time and you need to leave, and goes to red if you go past a certain limit. The moment if any guard sees red, they're supposed to execute on sight.
Gotcha. Okay. The influence of the Lamb will keep growing and growing and growing. If he gets super lucky, maybe he might influence someone who's a high member of the Foundation, but it's not likely. And it's likely that people are just going to notice that this new religion just forms and just starts growing.
Yeah.
And they might start looking into it to see what the fuck it is, because it's growing way faster than it should be. Yeah, it won't be too hard to figure that something's weird here. Like, once like within a week you have several thousand people that just joined a new religion, you'll probably be like, okay, that's stupidly fast.
That's
like,
creepy.
send
in the cauterizers. We need agent and info and spies. Literally.
Yeah, also, this is something we haven't really talked about, but I feel like we absolutely should. The lamb might get caught on really quickly because he's an anamorphic lamb.
Yeah, that is true. He's
not a human.
He would be immediately considered an anomalous object.
Yeah, just by looking at him, you could tell that he's not he's not a person.
Yeah, you'd be immediately clocked. Here's the other thing. Even if he isn't, and let's say he gets a cult following, the reason I say the cauterizers is because imagine the Spanish Inquisition. Then imagine the 40K Inquisition. They had a baby, and then that baby had a son and was an abusive piece of shit alcoholic father. And then that baby is the cauterizers.
You thought that was a good explanation of what you were trying to say?
Essentially, what he's saying is that the cauterizers have been so mentally fucked up that they can't really be indoctrinated into anything anymore.
They have like a strict to become a cauterizer is probably one of I'm actually going to do an mobile containment file on these guys because the way they become cauterizers is such an insane fucking thing. You basically are mentally, physically, and emotionally tormented to the point where you ask for death. They hit you with amnestics, then do it again. Hit you with amnestics, and do it again. You go through about 8 or 9 months of that type of training to the point where you are so mentally fortified that the only way you're going to be indoctrinated or messed with is if there's a god entity himself that does it.
Which the lamb is a god entity.
Which, after the Foundation loses contact with 1 or 2 cauterizers, immediate full mobilization, we're taking this fucking out.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to necessarily say that the people on Lands of the Old Faith are as mentally fortified as that. They are already indoctrinated into other cults, though. The Lamb is capable of undoing previous indoctrination and then putting his own indoctrination into other people. Yeah. So I don't know if that would change things for
struggle for him to indoctrinate them. I don't think it's impossible. Near impossible. Not impossible, but near it.
I got you. Yeah, in the Cult of the Lamb is capable of indoctrinating, like Narinder, who was the old god of death. He can indoctrinate other gods. He has to defeat them first. Let's be clear. He doesn't just do it. Like, he has to beat them in a fight first. But once he beats them in a fight, he can indoctrinate other godlike beings who are also gods, like the god of chaos, the god of war, the god of pestilence. Like, he indoctrinates 5 gods. So they might be very heavily fortified mentally, but are they as heavily fortified mentally as literal gods who?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
can indoctrinate people.
It would take him a fucking long time. Let's just say that it will take.
It's immediate. It's immediate in the game. You instantly do it.
Not necessarily. There are people that join that become like rebellious that he has to take control over.
That is only if he abandons them. It's not mind control. It's indoctrination.
Yeah.
It doesn't alter how you think. So even if you start to believe it, like if you just suddenly become a Christian, now you believe all of Christian values, but then every time you go to church, your priest slaps you across the face, you might be like, okay, maybe this isn't quite for me. Like it's sort of like one of those situations.
Yeah. Okay. But at that point, then the Foundation wouldn't see it as a threat as long as the lamb and the goat don't do anything heinous.
They do some pretty heinous shit.
They engage in trafficking, cannibalism,
slavery, forced cannibalism.
Again, cold, not cruel.
Human sacrifice.
The Foundation would probably intervene on human sacrificing and stuff like that, but human trafficking.
Honestly, I don't even think so. The Foundation regularly does human sacrificing to some of the Keter class.
Yeah, but those are people that are fucking assholes that murdered and raped and did all that.
It's still human sacrifice.
Would the Foundation supply the lamb with sacrifices?
Probably.
Honestly,
if the lamb was able to work with people,
Yes,
the
the lamb
Foundation
is.
probably would.
The lamb is literally. Now, I wouldn't say close friends, but he participates in the slave trade of the island. Helob is a character who is basically a giant spider that kidnaps people and eats them, and the ones he doesn't eat, he sells into slavery. And the lamb purchases them freely. He made a deal with a shadow fox demon to trade with him. Like he does work with everybody on the island. Basically, if he sees a use for you, if you have some sort of use in some way that you can benefit with him or deal with him in some way, he will. And if you don't have a use, he'll indoctrinate you into the cult and basically use your devotion to power him up.
The lamb would probably, like, if the SCP Foundation got to him, the SCP Foundation would probably be like, here's a private island, and we'll supply you with an endless supply of followers and human sacrifices.
As long as you stay on that fucking island. The moment you leave that fucking island, we
have a problem.
We're gonna nuke you.
So this is would the lamb actually stay on the island? That's unclear because like I said, the thing is that the lamb at the beginning of the game, all the lamb wants is revenge for the people who killed him. But as the game goes on, he becomes more and more obsessed with acquiring power. I don't know if lamb by the end of the game, or I would say that the lamb by the end of the game would not be content with just staying on an island and being left to his own. He would want more. The lamb kind of gets to the point where he just constantly wants more and more and more.
Then it's pretty much the same thing as I said. Like, the Foundation mobilizes every MTF. New 7's called in, and they fucking obliterate everything.
Yeah, but it wouldn't kill the lamb, though.
You might want to think of that.
It wouldn't, because the lamb is a death god. Even if he could just say no to death, which he can, he could just say no to death. Even if he did kill him, he would just come back.
As long as he has at least one follower, and it's been less than 3 days since his followers
not necessarily.
died.
He doesn't need a follower.
No.
Yeah, he could just come back.
Oh yeah, no, that's right. But,
At that point, I don't know. The Foundation would have to find or do something, or there's like a whole list of SCP.
Guys, y'all are supposed to be representing SCP, and like,
really,
everyone is surviving.
Hold the fuck on. Yeah, because
we're not trying to kill things. Like, this is how the SCP Foundation works.
The Foundation is cold, not cruel.
Well, the lamb is cruel. Well, the goat is cruel. The lamb, I wouldn't say the lamb is cruel. I would say the lamb is indifferent to the suffering of others.
No, the lamb is essentially the same as the Foundation. The lamb is cold,
which is why I think it's possible that they might work together. I just think the lamb will keep spreading, and that is the only. If the lamb could be content with not spreading and just like, this is our cult, hey, we'll even deal with you as the Foundation, and we'll, like, I think that'd be fine. But I think the lamb is going to keep wanting to spread, because that's what the lamb does in his own universe.
Look up something real quick.
Like, he's just not happy with sticking to his little. I mean, he does have his little base. Also, it's also important to note, in the Cult of the Lamb, the Lamb's camp, it cannot be found by anybody who wants to do it harm, basically. Like, you can only find the Lamb's cult if you're looking for it with good intentions, essentially. It's like, I don't know if it's like, they haven't actually explained if it's mystically hidden or what.
I think I got an idea if that would work.
What's up?
SCP-034, the Obsidian Dagger, which allows the person whoever wields it, if they injure, slash, or cut a person. Let's just say that the Foundation has one of their 8 cauterizers just find the lamb when he's out away from the island and just shanks him like a couple hundred times, killing him. The body's still there. Does he get a new body, or does the old body just stay there?
What it seems like is that the body disappears entirely and then appears where he wants it to. That's if he dies. But like I said, by the end of the game, he could just decide to not die if he doesn't want to.
Here's the thing. With that knife, guess what happens? Whatever flesh you cut with the knife, the person wielding it becomes the person who they cut. So basically what happens is, cauterizer...
When you say becomes, you mean in his entirety, or he just gets the powers of, or the body
even
of?
entirety. They copy it all the way down to DNA.
Mystique.
No. I mean who they are as a person.
No, like, they stay the same person, but they look identical to the DNA, to nervous tics, to everything. All physical things look identical.
Here's
Yeah,
the issue.
They retain
Here's
their original personality and memories.
Here's the issue. I don't think it'll work because the lamb is not the thing that's powerful. It's the red crown.
No, but what I'm saying is a cauterizer does that. The lamb dies, goes back to be respawned, gives the knife back to the Foundation, runs into the camp, and starts abusing the fuck out of everybody.
I mean, he would be missing the red crown, so it wouldn't. I don't think you'd be able to abuse them all that much. You'd essentially be a regular lamb man.
Yeah,
with no
but
powers,
with
and
a
you'd
good
be missing the crown.
Yeah, but here's the thing. With a good disguise, he just walks in there, makes everybody feel like they aren't needed or wanted, and they all
Except
leave.
for the fact that SCP-034 doesn't work if the subject is dead.
Well, he isn't dead.
Unless you kill him, and then he can come back. But
It's weird. It would be.
I don't think it would work because it's sort of a sitcom kind of plan, and I don't think it would work. Like, okay, let's say you do that, you cut them, and then you go abuse. How many of the people can you abuse? How quickly can you abuse them? Is Lamb gonna show up while you're there? I mean, what are you gonna walk in with, like just some random like metal crown on your head that doesn't act or look anything like the red crown, because the red crown actually floats around and he turns into tools and it's a living being with a moving eye and shit.
Like,
it wouldn't. I don't think it would work. It seems like some sitcom shit that wouldn't actually work.
It would be Weekends at Bernie's, but at least you could try some shit. I mean,
I don't know how well it would. Like if the Lamb had the actual powers, maybe you could do something like that. It's not. It's the red crown that has the power. So it kind of makes that whole plan sort of.
So it really boils down to, would the Lamb be okay not spreading his influence infinitely, and be okay being secluded and fed a steady supply of cultists and sacrifices?
Possibly, because no one ever makes that deal with him. Like, he goes after he's shown to be a very reasonable person when it doesn't come to the bishops. And for people who aren't aware, who just played the game and thinks that I'm making a bunch of shit up, a lot of this is also from the comic books and stuff too. There's actually story related shit that's been released for Cult of the Lamb. He's shown to be a very reasonable person who can speak to people and make deals and do all this stuff, and he's extremely brutal towards the bishops, and the bishops can in no way communicate with him or try to negotiate with him because they wiped out all of his people. They brought lambs on that island to extinction.
Yeah, I think it would just be a thing of he's probably gonna be one to be left alone with his people, and I'll be okay with like having more people come. But he's not like he isn't as power hungry as the goat. But I don't think the goat's gonna be.
Well, as far as power hunger goes, I don't think necessarily that either of them are more or less power hungry than the other one. I think the actual literal difference between the two characters is the Lamb is indifferent to the suffering of others, and the goat outright desires it. Like, that's the main difference. The goat is okay with having other people suffer if it means he gains something from it. Whereas the goat, even if he's not going to gain something from it, he just likes people to suffer. That's really the main difference between the two. But just the fact that the Lamb is okay with the goat's existence pretty much heavily shows the goat's not a good dude. They're kind of partners.
The Lamb isn't entirely indifferent though. Like, you do actually see him have some emotion.
Once.
It's only the once, but
when Rato dies, because Rato was his mentor and father figure. But it should also be clear, he cries while Rato is being killed, but he's the one who gave up Rato to die, and he did it for power. So he is still the one that killed him, even though he cries over it.
But he still feels remorse over the action.
Sure, but he still does it, and that's the only time that he shows any remorse for any of the actions that he kills a lot of people, a lot of innocent people. He sacrifices his own people for gold. He sacrifices his own people for all kinds of shit. What's up?
They're demented fucks.
Yeah, they're not good. They're not good. I mean, forced cannibalism is a crime in this game. There's no really reason to force somebody else to be a cannibal. But that's a crime that you can commit. Yeah, the Lamb's a fucked up dude. If the Foundation can continuously supply him with shit and give him an entire island to just rule over, and he could be happy with that, I think he would probably be okay with it. It's just if the Foundation would be okay with giving someone as self-serving and evil as the Lamb his own place.
Oh, 100% they would. They've done it before.
They are. They've done it before.
Then yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It seems like it doesn't matter what character that I put in this universe. It's like, well, let's just like work around and make it work.
That's the Foundation. What do you want me to
How
say?
the Foundation works, like
there's only been like 4 occasions in the entire Foundation universe where they have had to physically destroy entire, like, miles of land. There's only been about 4 times that I can think of.
I think there's
Okay.
a few more, but like I said, early Foundation was a mess.
They
They've
were
figured out a
really
lot
messy.
better ways to do things with the modern Foundation compared to early Foundation.
Yeah,
So
which, by the way, Rouga, Dan, I don't know if you know this, but I told Rouga that I was thinking about doing a series where I explain the SCP universe to somebody that has no fucking idea about it, which I think Rouga would be perfect for that.
I'm just ignorant enough for it to work.
Well, there's other
This
things
stupid
for
son
it.
of a bitch would be perfect.
No, it's not that. It's just that
No, I
the beginning of the Foundation was a shit show.
well, that's also why splinter factions like the Chaos Insurgency and the GOC exist, because they were originally, at least the GOC I know was originally.
No, you had that backwards. The Foundation was the Chaos Insurgency was originally part of the Foundation. The GOC was never part of the Foundation.
Okay.
Actually, technically both were.
Yeah, see, that's what I was getting at. The GOC was a splinter faction that came off of early Foundation because they saw the threat that some of the anomalies
Yes
could
and-
hold and wanted to destroy them.
Yes and no. Okay, we'll get into that later. I don't want to spoil that for Rouga because that's a conversation for another time, and that is like an interesting thing to talk about.
It would also be a conversation that'll take a few hours. But anyway,
Oh, yeah.
to that point, Nightmare. Nightmare's whole thing is the sword, right?
Nightmare is just he's a demon. He is a force of evil that
Okay.
wants death, destruction, and to control everything. That's
But
all he is.
Nightmare's whole thing is that he is the sword. So if he doesn't have a body to wield the sword,
No, Nightmare is not the sword. Nightmare is a demon known as Inferno that is inside the sword. Nightmare is just the sword
Wielder.
possessing a suit of armor, and that's what they call Nightmare. But Inferno is the demon
So-
inside the sword. If he doesn't have a body to possess, he could just come out and wield the sword and use it to kill people. But usually he has a body to possess. But the thing that makes Nightmare so dangerous is he just copies the powers of anyone he lays eyes on. So
can he copy a gun?
yeah, because the Soul Calibur, not the Soul Calibur, but
Why am I getting Vorpal's sword?
the weapon, the Soul Edge transforms into whatever weapon that he wants to copy.
Okay, I think I'm about to. You're probably gonna hate me for saying this. The Foundation's already got something like that they were
Probably,
already
it's
contained.
a pretty commonly known thing.
It's called the Vorpal sword, and they've been having it in Foundation custody for hella long years.
What does it do?
1871. The Vorpal sword is a steel longsword, possesses several anomalous physical properties. If placed on a flat surface, it will orient itself so that it stands on its pommel with the sword point facing directly upward. Although the sword is not weighted, will occasionally begin to behave as if submerged in highly viscous liquid when it is not, and will maintain this anomalous state for several hours at a time before reverting back to normal. When held by a human being, it will induce a variety of anomalous sensory effects. 70% of all subjects have experienced changes to their sense of equilibrioception. That's a fun word. Causing their sense of balance to shift so that they perceive gravity as acting parallel to the blade of the sword.
I
For
don't
this
see how this is
reason,
anything like that. Like, does it control people, and does it copy powers? That's what White Nightmare does.
no, it doesn't
Okay,
seem
so then
to.
it's not the same thing.
It,
No,
it messes with people's perception of gravity, and
I think I'm,
Yeah,
am I
that's
thinking of
not
the
the-
right one? I don't think
Apparently
that, no, maybe it's not Vorpal sword. It's the
not
one
the
where
purple sword. But with the fact that it is just the sword that is technically an anomalous object, I guarantee you there's a way that the SCP Foundation has to contain it. Like, they've contained hundreds of Keter class objects that can end the world as soon as they're released.
Sure,
or
but
even
just
actively ending the world in Foundation custody.
I mean, maybe, but just because something can end a world in one universe doesn't mean it can in another universe. The idea is that Nightmare can look at anything and copy it. I mean, he can copy any object. He's been shown copying objects and acquiring the power of objects. He can copy people. He copies whatever he looks at. So
Wait.
literally any tool that you bring to him, any SCP you bring to him to try in, he will just acquire the abilities of that thing that he's at the moment he sees it.
So if Nightmare were brought in front of an anomalous object, it would copy the abilities of that object?
Yeah, he's copied the abilities of objects before. There are certain things he can't copy, let me be clear. Like, for instance, there's at one point, I believe it was Sophia, she was gifted the powers of God. The gods basically gifted her power so that she could fight against Nightmare. He could not copy that power because it wasn't hers. She was borrowing it from some other thing he couldn't see. But for the most part, yeah, he can copy items. Soul Edge can transform into any item that anyone else is holding.
So Artie,
Yeah.
if Nightmare were to see SCP-35 or 035,
Oh no.
yeah,
Oh no.
SCP-035 is a drama mask, a la like Shakespearean style, and it has a continuous secretion corruption that essentially turns walls into pools of blood and flesh if it's not given a human to wear the mask. And if it's given a human to wear the mask, it starts driving that human crazy. If Nightmare were to see it, and I am underselling this SCP.
I mean, he doesn't have to use it.
I'm not saying that
does.
he has to use it. Well, no, I'm not even saying that he has to use it. I'm just saying, like, if he were to see it, he would then be able to corrupt everything around him and turn it into living flesh and blood.
Here's the problem with that. Nightmare looks humanoid, right?
No. I mean, if you think that looks humanoid, Nightmare as we know him is a demon spirit that has possessed a suit of armor, and its flesh is all corrupted. There's a giant mouth where its stomach is. Like,
Okay.
it does not look human at all. And when Inferno comes out, it looks like a being made of fire, basically.
Here's my question. I know there's one SCP, and I'm trying to think of the fucking name of it.
Don't blame yourself. Apparently there's 9,000 of these fucking
There's almost
yeah.
almost 9,000 of these fucking things. Yeah. Fuck. I'm trying to
Actually,
remember.
technically, there's more because there's all sorts of like
Jesus is Christ.
there's like -A, -B, -1, -2 on so many different SCPs that there's probably like 12,000 at least.
Say, I'm surprised there aren't more. Artie told me that there's 300 million people who are subscribed to the wiki page.
Yeah, there's
that is
300.
SCP.
They literally just recently got 300 million.
Yeah, so like you'd
login
think that there
viewers.
would be, there would be at least like, I don't
Well,
know,
a lot of
50,000 maybe,
lot
probably
of these are-
500,000.
a lot of these are community written, so like it'll be a whole group that gets together and makes the idea, or it will
And
be
We're not even talking about the sandbox. Oh
yeah, like
God.
there's a whole section where people just like throw a bunch of random stuff at a wall to see what sticks, and then eventually they go make that into an SCP. But essentially, like all 300 million of those, I guarantee you, like half of them probably aren't writing anything. Another third of them are probably only doing community
Most of them probably
stuff.
don't. A large percentage of them probably don't even go to the website all that often. That's
probably.
That's a lot of. Yeah, that happens a lot. It's like when you have like for instance, I got like 25,000 subscribers or something, and then usually they'll get over 10. But the point, like, there are people who subscribed to me months ago who haven't seen any of my videos for a long time. Like, they saw 1 or 2 videos, subscribed, and then never watched again. There's probably something like that going on in the with the SCP wiki.
Oh, 100%. With how old it is, and like with the fact that a lot of these SCPs from the older generation, a lot of people don't like them if they're newer members, and a lot of people don't like the newer stuff if they are older members. So it's probably something to that effect.
All right, so Nightmare shows up. He's gonna start corrupting people. He's gonna start stealing people's souls. He's gonna acquire power.
I have an idea. There's 3 contingencies I have. 1, trick Nightmare into going into the Infinite IKEA.
Yeah,
That
that's
would be
one
a
thing.
fun
Actually, to stop you right there. As far as I know, Nightmare can't be killed. But like, if you have something that would just like fling him into another dimension and trap him there, I don't think he has any way of coming back, unless he steals the power that thing is. If he sees the object that you're about to use on him that's going to fling him into another universe, and that object's capable of coming back, then he'll be able to come back too. Nightmare's not that powerful in his universe because his universe doesn't have that many powers. He's like the most powerful thing there. But if he's in a universe where all kinds of characters have all kinds of different powers, his power will increase significantly to the point that if left long enough in any universe, he will become the strongest thing there.
Okay,
Like, even if he met...
Can he copy a building though? Like, can he just become a building? Because if not, then yeah, trapping him in an infinite IKEA.
Well, no,
probably
because he could
wouldn't.
probably copy the employees because they're entities. If that's the case,
They're entities, but they can't teleport or anything. They're just
No,
part
but
of
what's
the IKEA.
what's trapping him in the IKEA? What's making him go inside?
You just force him in.
You just force him in there, like.
Okay, so whatever is forcing him in there, he would be able to copy that thing.
Well, no, it's like you get a mobile task force or like a group
Yeah.
of Class D personnel, and you just like
They wouldn't be able to
Literally
do
force
that.
him in there.
The moment he crosses the threshold into that doorway,
They wouldn't be able to do that. He once went up against an entire army single-handedly, and he immediately ripped all of their souls out of their body and absorbed them, and they all fell dead. We're talking about thousands and thousands of people.
okay,
in an
if
instant.
that's the case,
That's
then-
his base power before he's copied
Well,
anything.
this is the thing too. Like, you have to. There is something known as the skeleton key, and I may be wrong in saying this, Dan, but it's a key that if whoever holds it can open a door to another door. I may be saying this wrong.
You are incorrect. The skeleton key can unlock any lock. So anything, even digital locks, like the skeleton key can recreate passwords. But
Okay.
the skeleton key is a perfect copy of any lock it is put into. It does not open, well, technically it opens any door. The whole point of the skeleton key is just that it can open any lock. It doesn't open like interdimensional doors or anything.
Okay, well then at that point you give all the D class that you could get to somehow grab onto Nightmare, and then
Again,
use the.
Run into the same problem Rouga already mentioned. He just rips all their souls out.
Well, okay. Oh no, I got it. Put 049 in front of him.
Alright, what is 049?
The Plague Doctor.
Oh, that would be an interesting one.
What would happen?
Plague Doctor can't die. He does. Even if you ripped out his soul, he does not die. That's already.
So
We've tried that already.
the Plague Doctor's whole thing is that he looks like a medieval Plague Doctor, and he goes around trying to cure the plague that he finds in the world.
Pestilence.
Cure in quotation marks, because he actually spreads the pestilence.
Wait, he's trying to cure it and he spreads it?
Yes.
Yeah, so essentially, like, in his mind, he's trying to cure the whole world, but by trying to cure someone, he gives them the plague.
So how is he going to deal with Nightmare?
Well, the moment he sees Nightmare, I got $50 saying he's gonna say, "You are infected," and go after him. Okay, soul ripped out. He's still coming.
I mean, that's cool. Well, okay, can the Plague Doctor be infected by his own disease?
Nope.
No.
Okay, then neither can Nightmare.
Oh, here's the best part. Nightmare can't copy one ability.
What ability?
He basically touches you, you die.
Why not?
Well, because the Plague Doctor can't die.
The Plague
but,
Doctor can't fucking die.
Yeah, but neither can Nightmare now. They wouldn't be able to do anything to each other, is
What?
basically what you're saying.
So Nightmare can just infinitely copy anything that he sees.
Yeah, pretty much. When the Soul Calibur originally came out, Nightmare, it was specifically stated that Nightmare can only copy people who he has possessed. However, that has been, I don't know, retconned or ignored in future games to where he actually has the power of literally every single person on the entire roster, whether he's possessed them or not.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got it.
He has the powers of everybody. The only reason why we know him as the guy with the big two-handed sword and shit is because he uses the skills of Siegfried, because Siegfried is the greatest warrior in the Soul Calibur universe, so that's the skills that he uses. But he has access to the skills, weapons, and powers of literally everyone in the entire Soul Calibur world. The only way that anyone can beat him is through plot conveniences. Basically, Sophia was able to beat him because she was gifted powers from God. Siegfried is able to beat him when he splits Soul Calibur into the Soul Calibur and Soul Edge. It's two pieces of one sword. When he splits it, it actually cuts Nightmare's power in half, and then he gets the other half of it. What's
Rouga,
up?
please. Can he also copy a curse?
I mean, you have to tell me exactly like what it is.
You said that he can't copy.
Like the ability to curse people? Sure.
No. Like an actual curse, like a gifted curse by God.
As far as I am aware, no, because Sophia is gifted powers from God, and he was not capable of stealing those powers that she had.
Oh, you want to put Cain in front of him, don't you?
I want to put Cain and Abel.
Okay.
You can't put them both together. Abel will go ballistic.
That's why I want to put. I want Cain on one side of him, Abel on the other.
Okay, and what can they do? What's their whole
Well,
deal?
Cain
So-
basically he can't die.
Yeah.
Period, and it's a curse from God. Anything that he touches within a certain radius basically decays into nothing.
He should be able to steal the decaying ability. I don't see why he wouldn't be able
That's
to
a
steal
curse
that.
Except-
from God.
Except,
Yeah,
yeah,
but-
the decaying is the curse from God. So it would be like the powers that what's her name got.
Okay, so it would be like the blessings. Like she had the ability to call down lightning from the holy lightning from the sky.
And he wasn't able to copy that, right?
And as far as I can remember, no, I do not believe he was able to copy that ability.
Abel,
So
on
in
the
that
other
situation, Kane would not be able, or Nightmare would not be able to copy Kane's decay.
And even if he tries to copy Abel's ability, it's the same thing. It's a curse from God. He's unkillable, can regenerate really quickly, and create any weapon that he commands that he believes could kill said entity. That also includes the blade.
Seriously, no, it's a living. I doubt it. Now the decaying stuff probably, but as for that one, the blade's alive. Like it's already possessed by something else.
But in Soul Calibur, it can be destroyed by the Soul Calibur.
Not permanently. Like it always comes back. That's why Nightmare hasn't died yet. Nightmare has been beaten several times. Like he's beaten in almost every game at some point. Not every game, but a lot of the games he's been beaten. But he always comes back. Yeah. Because he's like a problem that just doesn't go away. Basically,
what I'm saying is Abel basically destroys the Soul Edge. Then Abel's left. They bring in Kane and Decay.
I'd have to think about it. Because has the Soul Edge ever been destroyed in the actual Soul Calibur universe?
To my knowledge, yeah. Soul Calibur 6.
I can look that up for you.
And if it has, was Nightmare killed permanently? Because I don't recall Nightmare ever being killed permanently. Because remember, the sword is Inferno, but that's only because Inferno is possessing the sword. So even if you kill Soul Edge, does that also kill Inferno? I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm not 100% sure because I haven't played the last 2 games. If there's something that had happened,
shattered in Soul Calibur 5 during Nightmare's final duel with Siegfried.
Did
However,
he stay dead?
Servants collect the pieces and bring the blade back to life. Soul Edge is destined to fight with Soul Calibur, and the two swords have clashed many times throughout history. Soul Edge's power is weakened by its frequent clashes with Soul Calibur, and it loses a lot of power after being united in Soul Embrace.
Yeah.
So
okay.
It looks
so
like
basically,
it always comes back.
Well, you just said the sword breaks, but then someone put it back together.
Yeah.
So if no one puts it back together, it won't come back, or is it like a fate thing where fate will always bring the sword back together?
I think it's like a fate thing.
Like he comes back in every single one. I don't think there's a single one where that's what I'm saying.
At that point, I would say the Foundation would collect the pieces and then make sure they're in containment and separated.
Well, if
they can shatter the sword with Abel, which is a Thaumiel containment class, because they use Abel to contain tons of different unkillable creatures like that.
The only issues that I have with this, as of right now, is one, if you contain the sword and Dan is correct, and it's actually fate that is bringing it back together, I don't think just containing it's going to be enough, because something is going to happen that forces it back together. That's not necessarily the strongest argument. I think the stronger argument is that Cain and Abel, basically the Foundation would have to know the exact specific weaknesses of Nightmare in order to specifically choose Cain and Abel, and choose them first before Nightmare copies a bunch of other powers of other things before they actually get there. When he gets there, if they try something else, like sending something, and he's just going to keep stealing powers, it might take them too long to finally get to Cain and Abel, and by the time they do get to Cain and Abel, he has a way of easily overcoming them. And maybe not necessarily killing them, but overcoming them to a point that they can't deal with them. Everything can die. It's just a matter of whether or not they can die in their fiction.
Well, that's the thing. They canonically cannot die. The moment that you actually let's say you obliterate Abel atom by atom, he literally comes back in about a week.
What about erasing him from conceptual reality?
My knowledge, nothing's happened like that before.
And he wouldn't survive it.
Yeah, like Abel would probably go down to Chainsaw Man. But
he would have to have evidence of being able to survive something for you to claim that he could survive it. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. When people say that someone is unkillable or they can't kill anything or whatever the claim is, usually I'll always say, yeah, in their universe. Because there's always some other more bullshit universe than your universe. Always. There's always something. I'm not saying that Nightmare is that something, but there's always something. Like,
but at the same time, let's just say, yes, the Foundation finds a way, they shatter the blade. What are they going to do? Okay, it's going to come back no matter what we try? Fine. Throw it in the infinite IKEA and let that shit figure it out.
Well, even if they shatter the blade, if they go near the pieces, it's possible for them to get corrupted and possessed by
well, the thing is,
the blade regardless.
The Foundation does have a specific MTF for this called Maz Hatters, who actually deal with shit like this on a regular basis.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, I don't know how they would deal with it, but
Yeah.
I'll assume that they have the proper things. It seems like this universe has most of the stuff that other universes
It's
have.
a Swiss Army knife of "we got you, fam."
Yeah, but yeah. So basically, it's like that was the whole thing about the sword. Like, if you kill the guy who wielded the sword before, he'll corrupt another person. Like, any people who go in the vicinity of the sword feel this like constant corruption that where like they're compelled. It's almost like the ring from Lord of the Rings. People are compelled to go towards it. Just it being in their vicinity, they are compelled. Like you could be hundreds of miles away. And if the sword is like in a cave somewhere and no one's around it, some dude hundreds of miles away will start getting visions of the sword and feel compelled and like it's their life's purpose to go get it. And they'll go exactly to where it is and fuck with the sword, and boom, he possesses it and he's back.
But at that
and
time, at the time again, I say with the sword being shattered, the Foundation moves in the team to get the pieces. Okay, what do we do with this? Well, we got to contain it. Well, we contained it. And now some mental shit is happening with our people. All right, we got to get to the bottom of this. We are going to amnestize people so they forget the dreams. Make sure that every like thing connected.
Yeah, but as long as the sword is there, it'll keep happening.
I know they're gonna do research. They're gonna find out why this is happening. Oh, this is why, because these pieces are near these people.
This is another thing. What research can they do? They don't know what this weapon is. It's not from their history.
Do you think that's a first? Not really.
You could say that, but you would have to tell me exactly how they could research something that just appeared that doesn't have anything to research.
So Rouga, one of the SCPs is essentially reverse water. So essentially it is water that came in from a different universe and has completely different properties to the water here. And they just immediately went, all right, you know what? Let's test the shit out of this and see what it can do.
That's not the same thing as like if you brought someone and started testing the sword, you'd get possessed.
They would probably let D-class personnel get possessed and then just incinerate him with flamethrowers.
He would not be incinerated with flamethrowers. It's Nightmare. Like at that point, he would be able to soul suck everyone in the building. He's specifically designed to constantly be a threat in the Soul Calibur universe.
At that point, I would say there would be like 3 or 4 Foundation sites that would go that would be sacrificed just to research, and they've done that in the past.
Like the only reason why Nightmare is defeated in his own universe is because, one, his universe isn't all that powerful, so he can't get that powerful from copying powers. There's only a couple people who can, and all of the people who beat him are either blessed by God or they have the other half of Soul Edge that puts them on similar playing field. Other than that, no one can just go up and beat him. He's designed to be an unkillable, always there, always corrupting force. He's like a lesser version of the Doom demon corruption, kind of fused with a little bit of Lord of the Rings, Sauron influence, like all of that stuff kind of combined, but also with power copying ability.
So people can hold on to pieces of Soul Edge, but the main piece that Nightmare is a part of will basically corrupt anybody.
No, I mean, as far as I'm aware, any piece of Soul Edge is going to, even in pieces, it will corrupt. It will reach out to corrupt people to bring itself back. Like, it will corrupt people from far away to bring itself back. Siegfried barely had the sword, even after he got rid of the sword and thought it was destroyed and shit, and he went out, like, he was still having visions and shit like this because Nightmare wanted him to come back and claim it because Nightmare wanted to possess him again, and Siegfried was like still getting visions even from being like in a totally different country. Like the Nightmare can reach out to people to try and influence them and get them to come and get him. And if anyone has the key to the door to where Soul Edge is kept in the Foundation, he will try to locate that person and get them to unlock the door and come in by influencing them.
At that point, I'm going to refer to Kid Cthulhu and another one known as 053. 053, the little girl. Once you see the little girl and are in a vicinity of her for about 5 minutes, you basically want to attack her. And the moment that you try to take an attack swing at her, you die of a heart attack. Basically, the Foundation
Just make sure the little girl doesn't pick up the sword.
no. The Foundation made what is known as an anti-memetic field, basically cutting off people like mental attacks. There's also a metal that's made in the Foundation known as, I can't remember the actual name, It's an actual SCP. It was made by grounding up fairies. Basically, the metal is an anti-memetic metal that if you wear like a helmet of it, it basically blocks out any mental attacks. It's basically like Magneto's helmet.
Gotcha. So that would work against mind control. Would it work against corruption?
I believe so, because the little girl is the same concept. Basically, it's an urge, you being pulled towards them,
Gotcha.
needing to do something. I would feel like it's the same concept.
So they would put that field around the sword?
I believe they would.
Okay, so what would have to happen in order for them to win? They would have to be able to destroy the sword before Nightmare copies too many powers. It becomes too powerful for them to deal with. Then they would have to get that sword transported to a location without it corrupting anyone on the way there. Then once it's there, they would have to get the med field, or whatever you called it.
Anti-memetic field.
Anti-memetic field around the sword, leave it, and never fucking touch it again. And they've probably got it.
Rouga, you're kind of forgetting something. The Foundation has an unlimited supply. No fucking shot. The moment that Nightmare drops and people start feeling like they need to touch shit, they're going to just say, "Stop, everybody back, put up the memetic fields, and then build around it." That is not me joking either.
No, I'm not saying you're joking, but it's a time thing. It sounds to me like the Foundation has the appropriate things that could overcome Nightmare. I'm not saying that they don't. It's just things have to go in a very specific way. Well, it's not just that. It has to go in a very specific way. They have to They have to know the weakness of Nightmare, which they don't really have any way of knowing. And then they have to send in Cain and Abel in there first before they send in anyone else. Then Cain and Abel would have to defeat Nightmare without Nightmare, who has all of the skills of every greatest warrior across all of time copied into his body at the same time.
Abel would fucking love that. That man is a fight nut. He would.
No, you don't even need to send both Cain and Abel.
You just need to send Abel. Abel basically is a fighting nutcase.
Abel
loves to
would
fight
very likely not be able to beat Nightmare in a fight. I mean, Nightmare might not be able to kill him, but he won't be able to beat him in a fight.
I think what it comes down to is it would probably end up being a deadlock where Abel is just kind of on the losing end the whole time. He is enjoying the fight so much that he will just keep getting more and more into it and keep getting stronger.
He'll just get super fucked up. But like because Nightmare would copy all of Cable's all of Abel, or which one was it? Cain or Abel?
Yeah,
Abel.
No, it's Abel.
He would be able to copy all of Abel's fighting skills on top of all of the other extreme fighting skills he already has. So he'd fuck him up. You also have to basically completely remove any of Nightmare's agency, where if he sees that they're evolving some kind of plan and surrounding him with like tons of people and about to put this medic thing on him, and they're like clearly have a plan, like he just has to not try to avoid it.
No, they wouldn't do that. The Foundation's a little more cunning than that. Essentially, they'd wait until Abel has subdued him, and the reason you can't send both Cain and Abel is because Abel will just straight up go for Cain no matter what if he sees Cain. So you send in Abel, and if Abel is able to take if he's able to take Nightmare down, it's at that point that Abel would probably pick up the sword, because Abel has been proven to resist those corrupting effects from different sources in his universe. So Abel would pick up the sword, and the Foundation would take it from him.
If he touches the sword, you're not dealing with corruption anymore. He's possessed.
Oh, well, Abel's immune to
You're
demonic.
not allowed. You can't touch the sword.
Wait a minute. If I'm not mistaken, basically, once the person picks up the sword, they have a battle of wills against Inferno.
Kind of, but the only one who's ever been able to survive it is Siegfried. And again, he's blessed and chosen by God, as on top of being like literally the perfect hero in every way. He's essentially the He-Man of the Soul Calibur universe.
The reason I'm saying this is because the simple truth is, I would believe Abel would just enjoy having a mental fight with this thing. You have to understand, when I say Abel is a fighting nut, we're talking about.
But it's not necessarily it's not. It won't be a fight, because he'd just be possessed. Just because Siegfried has the ability to fight against possession because he's chosen by God specifically to fight against Nightmare, doesn't mean Abel has that same ability. It wouldn't look like a fight. He would just get possessed by an evil spirit.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from.
Except
Like
for the fact
99.999% of people who touch the sword are instantly possessed. It's literally only Siegfried. There might be somebody else that I'm forgetting, but it's basically just Siegfried.
But Abel is also immune to demonic possession.
If that's the
There's-
case, then you're good.
If Abel can overcome Nightmare, then Abel picks up the sword, the Foundation builds whatever thing that they want, and then Abel just puts the sword in the case.
Like I said, I'm not saying that it's impossible. It sounds like it's possible. I just think it's very unlikely. It's if they send Abel, if
It really
Abel's
comes
able to
down
beat
to
him,
can
which
Abel
I don't.
take him out, is what it
I
comes down to.
believe he can, because there's one piece of the thing that Dan's not saying. Abel has the ability to copy any weapon.
Wait. If Abel copies the Soul Edge, does he get Nightmare's abilities?
That's the question I was about to ask.
Well, I don't know if that would necessarily. Now you're gonna have to tell me. I don't know if that's necessarily the case, because if he copies the Soul Edge, Inferno is where the powers come from, not the Soul Edge. Would he be making a copy of the demon Inferno?
I don't think he would be making a copy of the Demon Inferno. I think it's just the blade. But at the same time,
Then he wouldn't have any powers from it.
yes,
If
but at
it's
the
just a
same
blade.
time, Abel has been doing nothing but fighting people ever since the beginning of his time. Ever since he got that curse, he has been doing nothing but going around the world and fighting people.
So
put
has
it in
Nightmare, but the
perspective-
difference is that Nightmare's been copying all of their abilities as he does it. Nightmare is just a superior version of Abel, and more importantly than just copying their abilities. He fights with Siegfried's style mostly, because again, Siegfried's the best fighter who's ever lived. But it's not exactly like Siegfried's style. It's Siegfried's style, and it's got a bunch of little different edits and stuff to it that he took from other people. He takes the best parts of everyone's styles and puts it in and uses all the best parts, which makes it so that he is always the most skilled fighter in any 1v1 fight.
So would this be Saitama versus Garu, essentially, where they're just copying each other and getting stronger and stronger?
I don't know. I haven't seen One Punch Man.
I believe that would be the case. And at that point, the Foundation...
But does Abel... Wait, you haven't said that Abel copies fighting styles, though, does he?
No.
He doesn't copy fighting styles, but
he adapts
part of
to
his
fighting
thing...
styles.
Yeah, part of his thing is he adapts in a fight. He is essentially... If he's fighting, he is growing.
He's basically the Foundation's version of Siegfried. He adapts and maneuvers abilities and fighting styles. Like I said, this man's been traveling around the world for over thousands of years.
So he doesn't have Nightmare's complete copy where he sees something and it's mine. Abel has instead, as soon as he's in a fight, he starts learning how his opponent fights and gets better to beat his opponent.
Yeah, the only problem I have with that is that I don't think he'd be able to do it, because Nightmare would have his same adapting ability at that point.
So it would essentially just be an adapting infinitely thing.
It'd be an infinite feedback loop.
Except that Nightmare's is better, because Nightmare has copied all of the greatest warriors throughout all of time, and Abel hasn't. He may have fought against a lot of great warriors. Nightmare is starting off at a better place at the beginning of the fight.
Abel's been around for longer than Nightmare, so Abel has more experience.
I guess, but who is he? It doesn't matter how much experience he has. Who has he fought against? That's the issue. Nightmare has fought against. I mean,
we don't
who
really have the knowledge that Nightmare has fought against all of those warriors. You say it, but
he's fought
where
against
in the wars that's stated though.
Because Soul Calibur roster is the greatest warriors of the time, and he has them all. And we know that he's thousands of years old. It's been doing it his entire existence.
So
he has the skills.
Of the Soul Calibur
all of the greatest warriors of Soul Calibur are on the roster. Those are the greatest warriors. He has all of their skills combined. And we know he's been fighting for thousands of years. I guess you might be able to say that I'm assuming that for all that time he's been copying, but it wouldn't make sense for him to not copy any abilities, and then just now he's copied all of them at this one time period, but he hasn't in the past, I don't know, however long he's been alive.
Yeah, it's
Doesn't make much sense.
You said that there was a point where he could only copy when he possessed someone.
Yes, but I was
So
also said that was but I also said that was retconned. It's never stated in the series that that's the case. It was also, let me make this clear. I haven't read that. Someone told me in a comment section that that's the case, but the game completely goes against it when you actually play through the story, because it literally shows him using the powers of everyone on the roster, even characters he hasn't possessed. I'm taking the benefit of the doubt of a comment section that that's the case, and they were right about that.
Yeah,
it's clearly been either retconned or he adapted to that ability. We know that he copied the powers of Cervantes, and Cervantes was the greatest warrior hundreds of years ago. He's this immortal warrior. And he used Cervantes' fighting skills and abilities until he met Siegfried, and then he started using Siegfried's because Siegfried was the new greatest warrior he had ever met. So his fighting style always changes and alters depending on who Nightmare believes is the greatest warrior, and he believes that Siegfried's the greatest at the moment.
So from what I'm getting, we have basically two fighters that are equally as impressive when it comes to sword fighting, correct?
I mean, it would depend on the enemies that Abel has fought. Like in the Soul Calibur universe, I don't think it's a stretch to say that the sword fighters in Soul Calibur are better than the sword fighters in real life. Like, considerably so. They're inhuman beings with ultimate power. And you even said yourself that Abel doesn't copy the abilities of the people he fights, he just adapts to them.
He adapts to them, but his fighting style is his own and it continuously evolves.
Well, it won't be his own anymore, it'll be Nightmare's.
That's what I'm trying to get at. The moment that Nightmare copies his abilities and backs off, and they go back in, Abel realizes he's using his fighting style, so he's going to change it up. And the moment that Nightmare realizes it, he's going to copy, and it's going to continuously feedback loop.
I'm not disagreeing with the feedback loop part. I just think that Nightmare's starting at a better place.
Yeah,
he's gonna have a better style at the start. I guess I'm arguing that that adapting to things quickly is not as good as copying.
I get what you're saying, and
it's probably where I'm standing at. Yeah, like I don't think he'll be able to beat Nightmare in a fight. You also have the idea that Nightmare is just physically more powerful than Abel. As far as I'm aware, y'all haven't said anything about his physical power, but Nightmare is physically extremely powerful.
He's able to take 50 cal rounds like it's nothing.
Oh no, I mean that's
he takes 50 cal rounds to the head like it's nothing.
Nightmare moved a moon.
Damn.
Okay, I'm lying. Nightmare fought against a being called Abyss, who, when Abyss woke up, it caused an eclipse. I don't usually really care about that feat. All that people say, oh, he's moon level because he's able to beat a dude who moved a moon. But I kind of take more of that moon feat as just like, oh, look how evil and dark this creature is. It caused an eclipse. Not that he telekinetically tossed the moon.
I will say this: Nightmare, from what I can remember, he basically is, I would say multi-state level disaster.
I'm not really sure because no one in Soul Calibur blows up a country. You know what I mean? Like Soul Calibur's the most impressive thing that I've seen Soul Calibur do isn't even a physical attack. It's stealing the souls of an entire army at the same time.
That's why I say multi-state.
That's the most powerful thing he's done. He's definitely superhuman. He's definitely insanely strong. But how strong? I don't know. I'm not going to say. People like to say that he's moon. I think that's a ridiculous over-exaggeration just because that eclipse happened. I think that's just a visual indicator to the audience playing the game that this guy's so evil that his evil is infecting the world around him. I don't think that these are Dragon Ball Z characters who could move moons generally.
No.
But
okay. No, but when it comes down to it, I would say at the beginning of the fight, it's more or less Nightmare's going to take the lead. As the fight continuously drags on, it's going to get harder and harder and harder for Nightmare to keep up.
No, it's not, because he's going to be doing the exact. They're going to be. Worst case scenario for Nightmare is going to be equal. They're going to be on equal playing field because he's going to have the exact same adaptation ability. The only difference is that Nightmare is physically more powerful.
Okay, I will say that. Yeah, we'll agree on that. I will say it's probably going to be a stalemate to the point where they're pretty much locked in place. They can't really do anything else besides take it out on each other.
I don't see that. If you have two characters who have the exact same ability to constantly adapt to their opponent, but one is physically stronger, then it's got to go to the one that's physically stronger.
But what necessarily tells you that Nightmare is physically stronger? Because Abel is 6'4", 180 pounds.
Okay.
And all of that is, he's taller than Nightmare in his most recent form, because I was actually just looking that up, which height in a sword fight matters a lot, especially when it comes down to force. So what makes you say that Nightmare is physically stronger than Abel?
Nightmare is a giant flaming demon who possesses a suit of armor.
And yet its host body is still its limiter, and its host body
doesn't have a host body. Its host body is a suit of armor.
Its host body is Raphael. I was actually just reading that.
No. Okay.
Its host body is Raphael.
Different timeline. They rebooted the game. Check and see where the reboot was. Check and see where the reboot was. They rebooted the series. I don't remember where it was that they rebooted it. But
all
they
I'm
did
saying is this.
I have not. I'm not even gonna lie. I haven't played a Soul Calibur game since he summoned Raphael. When I played Soul Calibur, he was possessing a suit of armor.
Okay,
that's who he was.
6 is the reboot.
So
if 6 is the reboot, then he doesn't have the powers of everybody from 5 and below.
I'm not using the reboot because I haven't played the games.
Okay, then if you're using 5,
I'm using
then
the originals.
Nightmare-
Yeah.
So if you're using 5, then Nightmare is currently in a host body, not just a suit of armor.
Sure, but he wouldn't jump into a host body unless it was stronger than this last one.
Well,
I
he
would
jumped
say-
into Raphael's body.
Then
but
Raphael's
there's-
body is stronger than a suit of armor.
Ooh, I have an idea.
but
There would be
there's
no reason to
not
jump
guarantee-
into it.
I think I have a perfect way for both parties to be okay with this. As you said, that Nightmare or Inferno himself won't jump to a new host body until he feels like the new host body is stronger, or could be stronger
Yes.
if he possesses it.
Yeah, that's how Nightmare works.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
In that case, wouldn't he try to jump to Abel?
that's what I'm getting at. Wouldn't he try to jump after he grabs his powers? He would
Only
notice
if
that
Only if
Abel-
he considers Abel's body physically stronger than the one that he already has.
It
Which he
literally-
would.
Which he would, because the moment that Nightmare like slashes him and cuts him down, he would probably try to walk away, and all of a sudden you would just hear, "Hello, where are you going? Round 2?" And seeing that he has the ability to regenerate at an insane speed, would immediately go, "That is going to be my new body."
Not necessarily, because he does all that same stuff. Like, there's nothing like if he jumped into the new body, it would be because the new body is like physically more powerful. I mean, Nightmare himself already heals. He already has all of those other powers. He would have to see something in that he wants that is somehow better. Like he wants Siegfried because Siegfried is the most powerful swordsman that's ever lived. That's why he wants Siegfried. His adaptation ability is not going to matter because he can copy that. And his healing stuff's not going to matter because he already has those kind of powers. It would really just be how physically powerful his body
That's
is.
the point
Okay,
where I'm
so-
getting. That's what I'm getting at.
Abel has superhuman strength and speed, and I'm pretty sure he approaches subsonic.
Well, the thing is, what I'm getting at is, Inferno would notice he's adapting, but he doesn't have the same ability as me. What would happen if we stack that? You have to understand something. This is not an ability. This is just Abel's pure battle IQ. To the point where it's insanity. Nightmare or Inferno is going to see this and go, he's able to adapt that quickly, that powerfully, and that easily into my next attacks, and able to either dodge or somehow deflect. Actually better than my current host. I wonder.
Why do you think he's? Why do you think he's better than the current host, though?
Because the simple truth is, he's adapting to the fight, and he doesn't have the ability of adaptation. Like,
Well, there's
Nightmare
that, but
does.
also can Raphael tear through
Well, y'all said he. Well,
reinforced steel in 4 minutes?
wait. Y'all said that he adapted fighting style wise. Y'all never said that he adapted that his physical
No,
ability.
that's
increased.
what
No,
I'm saying.
No, what he's
He-
saying is that because Abel is physically, or not physically, because Abel is adapting his combat style without Nightmare's inherent ability, Nightmare would go, holy crap. That is a level of aptitude. That's not necessarily an ability that Abel possesses. It's just an aptitude for fighting
Yeah.
that you need to be a
Oh,
grandmaster
actually,
in.
fuck.
Sure, but he's
Swordsman.
not stealing bodies for
Fuck, I
aptitude because he
fucked up.
copies that. He's stealing
I fucked
bodies
up.
because they're the most powerful. If
No.
Abel's not more powerful than somebody like Siegfried or like Raphael, which again I'd have to look. I don't exactly remember what the physical feats are of those, but they're all insanely powerful superhuman beings
No,
who can
I
tank
just-
down buildings with a single swipe of their weapons. I mean, they're not like
Rouga-
you say, can they rip through steel in 4 minutes? Yeah, most likely yes. They destroy way
Reinforced-
bigger
Rouga,
shit.
I-
Reinforced steel security door
Dan,
in 4
Rouga,
minutes with no weapon.
Rouga, Dan, I think I fucked up and I forgot one of the fact that he can make weapons out of nothing.
We talked about that already. That's part of his curse from God.
No, that's the part. That's the thing. I actually am starting to go back over to Ruga's side. The moment that he would see that, Nightmare would try to copy it. Notice he can't copy it, and go, "Huh, that is a dead body to me. I cannot possess that."
That's a good point. If it's cursed, if the body's cursed by God, I'm not 100% sure Nightmare would want to go into it.
That's the point I'm going, and that's why I'm going over to Ruga's
Yeah,
side. on
like
this one. I don't think he would want to even touch that.
like he doesn't try to possess Sophia. Sophia is blessed by. I don't think he wants to have anything to do with gods. I'm trying to remember some feats that they had, like that were just physical. Because I think the moon feat's bullshit. I'm not gonna use the moon
Ruga,
feat.
I think that Nightmare would win against Abel because of just sheer a bunch of shit due to the fact Abel has a certain amount of times he can revive himself before it's just game over and he has to
why
go
the
back
fuck
to
didn't
his
you guys
body.
tell me that? If that was the case, of course
thought we
Nightmare's
did.
gonna win. No, I don't remember y'all saying it was limited.
It's not that it's limited. It's that Abel, once he's taken enough damage, has to reform his body. So eventually his body stops listening, essentially. It's not that the damage is necessarily limited. It's that if Nightmare were to, like, say, cut off Abel's head, he'll come back 3 or 4 times from that before finally needing to completely recoalesce his body.
Yeah, then Nightmare's
winning.
gonna win.
682, on the other hand, that would be an interesting fight since
That would be a nightmare, if he met 682, because he would just get all that power.
He cannot, because it is from his daddy.
Copy that, but also can Nightmare copy physiological changes? Because if Nightmare can't copy physiological abilities,
well, define what you mean. What you mean, like DNA-based abilities?
I mean, like changes directly to the body.
682 basically can mutate to adapt. Basically, Darwin, but an angry giant lizard.
That specific power, I don't think exists within the world, but he's been able to, like Cervantes is an undead ghost.
I don't think it matters.
And he was able to copy the powers of Cervantes that gets his from undead ghost powers. Like,
yeah,
I don't see why he wouldn't be able to.
I'm trying to say he's not going to be able to copy it because that's kind of a gift from his dad, who's a god.
Yeah, it's a bestowal from the Scarlet King, so that would be another situation where Nightmare can't copy based on.
Well, okay, but it would depend on how the no. But it's not just necessarily that it was given to him by a god. It was a blessing. Like Sophia was blessed by God, and God assists her during battle. Essentially, when she calls lightning down, she's not making the lightning. The god is sending lightning to assist her. It's not her power. If you're just saying that Scarlet King gave the 682 powers, but it's his powers now. I mean, Scarlet King isn't like. It's not like he's calling Scarlet King every time he wants to use the power. That's what I was talking about. And it's not just it was gifted to him.
Yeah, but then it brings in the other problem of, is Nightmare copying their abilities or copying their soul? That's the question also, because that's the case. 682 doesn't have a soul.
There's no evidence that states that it's copying a soul. I mean, he could steal souls, but he's not stealing Siegfried's soul. You know, he hasn't stolen the souls of the people that he's copying.
Yeah, but then at that point, it's just feedback loop again and again, because 682 can't die.
Yeah, he would just copy him. That's all. I mean, worst case scenario, he would corrupt 682, maybe, possibly.
682 is incorruptible.
They've attempted on multiple occasions to corrupt him somehow.
I'm not 100%
sure. Put 034 with 682, but 034 is the drama mask. There was a suggestion to do that, but the Foundation thought better of it because they thought that it would essentially be a perfect vessel for 034 since it 035, because it can't melt the lizard the way it would all its other hosts. So it would essentially be a perfect host.
Yeah, but at the same time, they did an interview with it later saying it can't take over the bodies of animals, and it considers 682 an animal, an intelligent animal, but an animal.
That was done later. Like
I think that would be a situation where they see each other and like he sees him and they basically get the same power and they become equal in power. And then it would just be like, would they even want to fight each other if they know that neither of them would win the fight?
682's prime directive that the Scarlet King gave him is to obliterate all life.
Yes, but if he
Nightmare.
Well, it's hard to say that Nightmare is even really life, but let's just say he is for a second. What if he can't? You said himself he's intelligent. He's not like 682 isn't just some
idiot
thing.
He's
if he's intelligent enough that he keeps attacking, he's like, okay, so this thing has all my powers. I literally am not capable of killing it. He's probably gonna move on to different life that he can obliterate. He's not gonna try to.
No, he wouldn't move on because 682 holds a grudge. What he would do is he would live to fight another day, and come back with some weird-ass contraption that he threw together.
He would have to figure out he would have to figure out his own weaknesses. And then he would introduce his own weakness into the world.
Or
not necessarily, because as soon as he figures out his own weakness of his current body, he would then evolve that weakness outside of Nightmare's view.
I thought of something.
No, Nightmare doesn't have to. He now has the power. He would just do it.
I have something that
but that's why I asked about physiological things, because like 682's whole thing is that he adapts physiologically. He doesn't adapt. He doesn't.
Yes, like when he sees.
A new limb is
I know
power.
what you're saying.
Physical thing.
Let me explain. If he sees 682, he should have all of the powers that 682 has and all the past adaptation. If 682 goes off and adapts to new things now, then it's not like Nightmare's going to suddenly also adapt to those at the same time.
Well,
he would have to see him again. However, he still has the adaptation ability. If 682 brings something that could kill him and does it to Nightmare, he'll adapt to it, just like 682 would have.
Okay, but
Like-
how does he get that adaptation ability if he can't change his body physically? Like, that's part
Because
of
he's-
682's whole thing.
What do you mean he can't change his body physically? Of course he can. He's a fucking shapeshifter. What do you mean he can't change his body physically?
Okay, that's what I was asking, and you weren't giving me an answer.
Oh no! I mean, he acquires whatever powers that he needs to. Like, I can't think of any character in the universe that has like a biological power. Like, the powers are generally magical based, and like there's undead characters that he copies the powers. But I don't see a reason as to why a biological adaptation would be like the limit to Nightmare's copy. Like, I don't see why that's where it would stop.
There is something I wanted to just bring up slightly. There is a thing called the all dispensing vending machine. It's a keyboard vending machine that you type in what you want and it will dispense a drink of that.
Nightmare.
And they did this with 682. It's something to kill 682. And a cup dropped and it filled it with like this weird blue liquid. They poured it on 682 and it destroyed a portion of 682 and it wasn't able to regenerate that portion. It had to remove the flesh that was being dissolved by it and basically regenerated that. What I'm proposing is the Foundation something to kill Nightmare. Okay, fill it up, do it again, and again, and again, and again, and again. And then just
if you really want to kill Nightmare, I don't know why we've danced around for so long. If you really want to kill Nightmare, there's ways of doing it. Just erase him from existence. Is there someone who can erase him from existence?
100% sure there's a reality altering SCP.
There's a couple.
Okay, then that would be the one to go with. Like, he's not an invincible being.
I don't.
He's not.
Like that.
It's boring. I agree. It's boring. It's kind of a dull way of ending
that's
it.
why we were trying to find like a way around it.
But the idea is that if he lays eyes on you, he gets all of the powers of the thing that he like. He's a very difficult thing to deal with, and you would have to erase him without him seeing the thing that's erasing him, because then he would also acquire the erasure powers. But like it's a pain in the ass. I get it, but there are powers that can outdo him. The whole point is essentially beating him without letting him like see you.
I mean,
basically.
technically, that baby Cthulhu is one of those reality-altering things that can
Yeah,
just
I
erase
know.
him from its dream. Like, it's, hey, how'd this thing get in here? I don't want it here. Wakes up,
Yeah.
goes back to sleep, Nightmare's gone.
Yeah. Nightmare is one of those characters who is only weak because the universe that he's in is not that strong.
Yeah.
Like, if you take him out and put him in literally any other universe with insane, crazy powers, he becomes damn near unstoppable. They're very lucky that he's in a universe that has very low-level magic and some kind of strong, like, sword wielders. Do y'all want to do one more and end it, or do y'all think that that's good?
No, I just say this. I'll eclipse Darth Vader in like 10 seconds. Ready?
I don't
Yeah.
get why Darth Vader's on this list. Like, based on the stuff that you guys told me about what they can... I mean, look,
I thought it would be interesting, but now
if
that
they can deal... If they can deal with Hulk and Jackie as the Kato and Kratos and the Lamb and Chainsaw Man, Darth Vader's not even a fucking, like, there's no even point.
If it's the Empire,
Three
like,
of those people, they
Star
just gave
Wars-
perfect vibes.
Yeah, three.
Yeah.
We
They just solved all their problems.
We solved the Hulk, the fucking Kratos, and fucking Chainsaw Man. Fuck.
The whole plot of those. Well, Chainsaw Man you didn't necessarily solve. Chainsaw Man you just did what his story is.
Yeah, we just gave him a copy of his story.
Just copied his story. No, the only one that you can legitimate solve all the problems of, I think, is Kratos. I'm not necessarily sure you can solve all the problems of Hulk necessarily, because I still think there's going to be weird Marvel writing. Shit
but-
always happens.
Yeah, but when it comes to like, if it's like the Empire from Star Wars trying to invade Earth, I'm gonna say this right now, they're gonna lose within like the first 30 seconds.
They would lose, but let's talk about Super Earth instead, because I feel like that's a more interesting invasion.
I don't think it would be. I think it's the same as Star Wars.
I don't necessarily think so, because Helldivers as a universe, like I've been doing some reading on it, Helldivers is a very, very strong universe. The Super Earth that exists in Helldivers has more research technological advancements than the SCP Foundation. It really comes down to, would they be able to crack one of the sites, which we've seen sites breached countless times, at which point does a Keter class end of the world scenario play out? Because
what I
they
think
broke
would be
a
funny.
containment site.
No,
What I think would be what I think would be funny is if I don't know if this is necessarily the case, what would happen, but it would be funny if Super Earth shows up. They go to war with the Foundation. The fight's really close. Super Earth can't take it over, and they're like, "Fuck it, let's just open up a black hole in the center of the planet." And then all of the containments that could survive a black hole do, and they basically just release like
Well, this is the thing.
8,000 fucking.
Are we talking like there's
Cthulhu monsters in the world?
Are we talking like Super Earth on the opposite side of the sun, right where Earth would be?
That would basically be like what I've done with my Helldivers videos is basically like they're fucking with Illuminate technology and they open up a portal into another universe.
Okay, cool. Foundation's just gonna shove in 682-096, 173, and basically just shut the portal behind them as best they can and let that figure it out.
Yeah, but didn't you say that 682 can travel between dimensions and it
No.
destroys all life?
No,
He's
682 is not.
He's omnipresent. He's not omnipresent. He's singularly omnipresent. There's always a 682 in a universe.
Okay,
He'll
well,
probably come back. He will probably come back, but at the point,
Super Earth would first have to figure out how do you kill an unkillable lizard.
what would
They'd
stop
have-
what would stop Super Earth from just opening up the portal and doing the same things that the Foundation? If the Foundation can get it through the portal, why would Super Earth be able to do the same thing just
probably
in the
because
opposite way?
682 sees, oh, humans, time to kill everyone.
Yeah, but
And
the
just
Foundation was able to do it, so why wouldn't
Oh,
Super Earth be able to do it?
they could, but it would be a horrible mess.
Yeah, but I think there's more people that could die in Super Earth than there are
that's
in
why
the
I did.
Foundation.
That's why I said 682, 173, and 096. 096.
The
You
only
see
one I
his
don't know is
face.
096. Oh, right, it's that one. 173 is the sculpture, so it's the one, as soon as you're not looking, it goes behind you and snaps your neck. It moves faster than light, because it's not really moving. It instantly teleports behind you the minute you stop looking at it.
That is faster than light. It's a teleport. It's two different things.
It's legit the same difference.
It's not. One actually has to
No,
travel
what
there.
what I'm saying is, it does both. It's the same difference.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
if
it
it
technically
does,
can do both. Like, it can teleport across great distances instantly, and when it's actually in a room with you, it travels faster than the speed of light.
I'm assuming the whole like something that big, moving that fast, destroying the entire planet. We're just ignoring those
No,
physics.
that gets ignored.
That gets ignored.
173 has bullshit armor.
Okay, I mean, you'd have to have a lot of them.
Also, 173 has been put through the refinement machine, so 173 is now upgraded. It's not
just
what it
don't
used
see-
to be.
My only issue with this is that I don't see how the Foundation's going to get these three things over to the portal and shove them in there. And if they can, why Super Earth couldn't do the exact same thing?
I have an idea. No, because this is what I'm guessing the Foundation's going to do.
You're also assuming that once Super Earth invades, like even if you close the portal, you're still gonna have billions of people in Super Earth there. Like it's not like you got rid of all the ones who have already invaded the universe.
What I'm saying is the Foundation has opened portals to other dimensions before. It's nothing new.
It's quite common.
It's
Sure.
quite common.
It just wouldn't solve their problem.
No, but this is what I'm saying. They would take a picture of 096, strap it to the face of 173, and then just gently push it through the portal. Then leave the cage right there in front of the portal of 096 and just wait.
Also, say that Helldivers opens their portal into SCP Foundation. There's now a brand new portal which SCP detects immediately. So Helldivers has no chance to get established here. SCP detects this new portal immediately. They have mind-altering SCPs. They have SCPs that quite literally will destroy universes on a whim.
I'm not arguing that SCP is going to have stronger stuff. The thing I'm arguing is that they're going to be able to use these SCPs as weapons against the Helldivers without also fucking themselves up, and without the Helldivers literally doing the exact same shit.
They've done it before, and they know
Yeah.
how to contain the shit that is already.
I thought y'all said that 682, they wouldn't let 682 out.
Yeah, no, they wouldn't have let 682 out, but we don't even need to for this, because the minute the portal is opened, SCP has somebody called the Interdimensional Man. The Interdimensional Man is a janitor for the SCP Foundation, who randomly jumps into different universes. In one of the universes, he's actually a researcher. He has been to tons of different universes and always brings back a travel log for the SCP Foundation. One of the universes he went into, he brought back a weapon that slowly deletes the entire universe that it's in. And so SCP has just been like strapping him to it and sending him on different missions. And every time that universe deleter thing, it always finds a way into the original universe that it was from, and then it finds its way back into whatever universe it has been in. So it's an omnipresent thing that just slowly deletes universes.
Yeah, that would work. But my only thing that I would say, I mean, if they could just like straight up open up a portal and delete the universe, that would definitely work. My only issue is the whole thing about like, I mean, that doesn't solve the problem of the Super Earth people being in their universe.
Oh, for that, it's just
the
Class
fact
A
that
amnestics and a mind-altering SCP.
it's also the fact, like what Dan said, is the portal opens. Okay, Foundation's immediately on site with about 40 different MTFs.
They have massively faster than light ships and stuff.
Are we talking it's opening up in space, or are we talking it's
Of
opening up?
course, it's opening up in space. Yeah.
Okay, if it's opening up
space.
in space, yeah, we have faster than light travel ships. We have one that's floating around the fucking moon.
Well, I'm asking. I don't know anything about SCP. I'm asking questions.
I know. We have one that's flying around the moon that keeps shit from hitting it
So is
because
it-
Yeah,
it's
because
a
the moon
space.
is an egg.
Wait, what?
So
Yeah.
So yeah, in the SCP universe, the moon is actually an egg that will eventually hatch and then eat the planet.
Would that work scientifically? I feel like that wouldn't work. I feel like
I
you
don't
couldn't
think it works.
replace the moon with an egg, and it does the
Well,
same.
no, the moon-
it wasn't replaced. The moon has always been an egg.
The moon has always been an egg. It's just a giant
So-
creature's egg.
So actually, let me put it this way: Super Earth opens a portal. They come in, and suddenly they see like our moon, and as a display of power, they blow it up.
Why would they do that? Okay, go ahead.
Just for the sake of argument, as a display of power, they blow it up to try to get like all the humans on this planet to bow down to the glory of managed democracy and Super Earth. Okay, the creature in the moon has now woken up and will destroy every single ship in its vicinity.
How far along do you think a Helldivers invasion would get before they decide like to destroy everything?
2
I
days.
think
I don't
the
know.
Hell-
First
I don't-
off,
I don't even
I think your
the
premise-
Helldivers would decide to destroy anything.
I think your
I-
premise is a little fucked because I don't think they're gonna just randomly start firing at an egg moon. I don't know why
Yeah,
they would
but like
do that.
honestly, like even if they don't do that, like I think that Helldivers come in, SCP Foundation is instantly there with its own fleet, and then once the Helldivers realize that they aren't necessarily outmatched, but they are outclassed, they retreat to their own universe and close the door until they can come back with better technology.
Here's the best part about that.
But they might also be stubborn enough to just keep going.
Yeah,
Like I feel like when you start introducing, I mean, I don't know because they don't have universal shit. Like when you start introducing universe deleting shit, maybe they'll be like, you know what, maybe not. But I do think there's a definite possibility that the Helldivers are just so like, no, we must spread managed democracy, and anyone that even outspeaks like, hey, maybe we should run away, guys. I think they would be like,
Just
what, are
get-
you,
just
are you
get
fucking
Amazon.
traitor? Like, what are you, a traitor?
Well,
Are you a fucking communist?
so-
Like, I think it's possible.
So in that scenario, if the Helldivers decide to press on the way that they want to, there are several mind-altering SCPs which the SCP Foundation would bring out that would just put the entire fleet of like 10 billion people to sleep, at which point those mind-altering SCPs would also start removing memories until their loyalty to Super Earth, which has been ingrained since they were 7 or
Yeah.
earlier.
Well, way before that, from birth, yeah.
So from birth, so these people would all regress to adult babies, basically, because they wouldn't have any memories
Can
of
he do it?
anything associated with Super Earth.
Well, okay, so one thing about all these SCPs, can they do this to whole armies?
Yes.
Yeah, they can do it to 10 billion people
I
at
gotcha.
a time.
We've
and that's
done,
on the world.
they've done that to the entire planet multiple times.
What I think the Helldivers are going to end up doing, most likely, I don't think they're going to give up on the universe,
I mean,
but
they
I also
have
don't think.
weaponized cancers, so like they're
Yeah.
pretty advanced.
But I also don't think that they're going to just keep attacking if they don't think that it's possible to win. What they might do is chuck the Terminids in there, just chuck a couple of them, and then close the portal, and then just wait.
That's not going to help. That's not going to help nor hurt the
No, but,
Foundation.
I mean, it would be certainly funny to watch the Foundation interact with really fast reproducing Terminids.
They're really fast reproducing and also extremely fast adapting Terminids. That's
It
that's
would
the
essentially
important
be
part.
it would essentially be if they threw a version of the hard to kill lizard into
Yeah,
the
it's-
SC SCP Foundation.
Well, you also have like the Gloom, for instance. Do they have an answer to the Gloom?
What's the Gloom?
It is a massive galaxy-spanning cloud of death that spreads across everything. The Terminus created it, but we don't know like what the fuck it is or how they did
They
it.
would have I believe they do. The last time I checked, the Foundation basically put up more or less what is known as radar shielding of the planet. It's more or less like light barrier shit. Imagine, what is it called? I remember the movie or the show. It was basically like the arc light system from Men in Black. Imagine that, but like it stops everything. It's basically like a giant orb around the Earth that protects it from all shit that we don't allow in.
We don't know enough about the Gloom to really talk about the Gloom.
Here's another.
Well, we know that it's a cloud of death, and we know that we don't know now. It might be more than a cloud of death. But we do know that you can't go in it; it will kill you, and we do know that it's spreading across the galaxy. So that's two things.
We know automatons are socialist eating babies.
Here's a question for you. Here's a really interesting question for you.
What's up?
Where exactly is this portal going to be opening up?
I usually say at the fringes of space, just because I think it's just the most fair. Like it's not going to appear like right on top of your planet, because I think it would be unfair. But I usually say on the fringes.
In that scenario, the portal is instantly set upon by outer gods.
Yeah,
those are a thing.
Well, like I try to put whenever I do this, I try to put it wherever it would be like the most equal.
I would say Jupiter.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably the safest spot.
But here's the thing. That's pretty much the safest place you could be in the SCP universe. But then you open up another can of worms.
Oh, that's right. Jupiter has its own shit, doesn't it?
Yeah, it has.
Well, then don't go to Jupiter. Just be in space.
No, because that's the problem. No matter where you go, if they go near Jupiter, they're going to accidentally activate something the Foundation has made sure is offline for a fucking reason.
Then don't send them to Jupiter.
Even sending them anywhere else in the universe, there are things in the SCP Foundation universe that are scattered all throughout our Milky Way galaxy.
So basically, the entirety of space, no matter where you go, is just an ocean of fucking piranha, essentially.
Pretty much. Why do you think
if you drop them anywhere in space, there is something, and I'm not sure what it will be, but if you drop them on Jupiter, there's something that's been deactivated and sent to Jupiter for a reason. If you drop them on the fringes of space, there's outer gods that will literally eat their ships because they've been looking for sustenance. If you drop them in the middle of the galaxy, I'm pretty sure there's a giant spaceman.
Why hasn't the egg moon cracked?
Because it's still young. It's still a larva stage.
No, why hasn't it cracked? I mean, you're saying that you can't find a 1 mile wide area to put anyone, or else they'll be immediately destroyed. So why is there an egg moon that hasn't been completely fucking destroyed? It's out there just floating.
Rouga, that's the thing. The reason that we haven't been fucked with is because it's right next to us. That thing apparently is so dangerous, nobody wants to go near it.
Even all of the crazy piranha out in space?
Yep. That's how dangerous it is.
It's an egg. How do they even know?
The egg moon is essentially an incubating god.
And if you destroy it, oh, hey, mama.
I'm sorry, and no, look, maybe you guys are right. I don't know much about this universe. I just find it very hard to believe that in the infinite vastness of space, you cannot find a mile-wide area that doesn't have something that's going to kill you in it.
You could probably drop them outside the Milky Way galaxy.
The wiki just doesn't. The wiki doesn't seem like it has enough things written in it in order to fill that amount of space.
Okay, but Rouga, if you drop them outside the Milky Way galaxy, fair enough. They probably have a shot. So you drop them into, let's say, the Andromeda galaxy next door. The thing is, that travel from the Andromeda galaxy in faster-than-light ships is going to wake up the stuff that lives in between the two galaxies.
No, but what about if you just put them in between, I don't know, a Pluto and fucking whatever planet is in Pluto, on the other side of Mercury, and it literally there's not a single spot anywhere in all of space anywhere.
That one might work.
That's what I'm telling you. There's gonna be a lot of places that work. Space is huge. I don't buy what y'all are saying. I'll be honest with you.
I will say this: if you drop them at Pluto,
because there's no way, just sense-wise, there's no way that the Earth of the Foundation would be able to survive if it's as dangerous as you guys are saying it is.
Okay, let me re-influence this. If you drop them at, say, Pluto, I would say they have a good shot of getting to Earth. A really good shot. Like, a really, really good shot. As long as
they make sure to avoid Jupiter in their calculations, yeah.
As long as you avoid Jupiter and Uranus, you're fine.
They would have no reason to go to Jupiter.
It's a big... There's literally a giant moon with methane on it.
So?
That's a very good resource.
Not for them, it isn't.
Okay. Well, then they have no reason to go to Jupiter.
They have a constant renewable energy source.
Okay,
they don't use methane anymore.
Okay, then they don't need to go to Jupiter. Do they have to go to Uranus?
Why would they?
Okay, then no, they don't. So they have a good shot.
They want to spread managed democracy across all like livable worlds and planets. They're going to go to the place where life is, essentially. So they're going to go to Earth. If they're in a copy of their own solar system.
Well, they're going to stop at Mars first.
There's people living on Mars?
Yeah.
Yeah, then they'll probably go to Mars. And they'll probably go to Mars and Earth.
All right, then after that, then they're going to Earth, and, well, before they even get there, hey, the Foundation already knows you're on your way, because you fucked up with the Mars group.
Well, I mean, also, the Foundation would know as soon as that portal opens over
to
Pluto.
Like, we're trying to explain this as best we can, because I keep forgetting you don't know a fucking thing about it.
Thing about SCP.
We're also oversimplifying the SCP universe.
Without oversimplifying it. Exactly.
Gotcha.
It's hard for us. Basically what happens is this. I would say they would have a fight for about 2-3 days before Super Earth decides, hey, we're just going to blow up that planet and then collect its resources from the rubble. And then immediately try doing that, and then notice that it failed for some reason. Try again. It failed for some reason. Figure out why it failed. Turns out, oh, it's an entity that basically stops anything from hurting this planet.
Oh, it's not a. They would. Well, if they wanted to destroy the planet, they wouldn't shoot it and blow it up. They would open a black hole in the center of the planet. That's how they destroy planets, generally speaking.
We have protection against that, actually.
Yeah, I'm not saying you don't, but they're not gonna. They wouldn't try to destroy Earth. They would try to take it over. They've only destroyed one planet so far, and the only reason why they did that was because it was so filled with Terminids that it was an unsavable planet essentially, and Terminids were spreading from that planet like crazy, and it just got to the point where it could not be stopped. So they're just like, all right, we're just gonna destroy the whole planet. Otherwise, they don't do that. They try taking shit over. I mean, they're gonna shoot towards Earth with a massive fleet of ships, drop tons of people all across the surface of the world, and then try to take it over that way by taking out all of its weak points. They'll scan the planet to see what weak points it is. They'll destroy its communications, do stuff like this. They'll try to systematically tear down the planet.
I don't think it would be a fight on Earth at first. I think it would be a fight in space.
Yeah, if they catch them. Yeah, if they know they're coming in and they show up.
That gets to the point that we don't know enough about Helldiver's space combat to be able to. Really
that's true.
To that. Jupiter is a living planet in the SCP world. Like, it is actually alive. Even if they actively avoid it, Jupiter is aware of what's going on.
I'm not saying, and I don't think that the Helldivers would be able to overcome the SCP universe. It's clear that they have way more powerful shit. But I did not at all in any way buy the idea that there's literally nowhere they can appear where they wouldn't instantly be eaten by space piranha. I didn't buy that. I knew that there's definitely there's somewhere. Like, there's no way.
There is somewhere. It's hard to pinpoint, especially when you're thinking about like the locations across all of SCP, because there's a lot of them. So it's hard to find that when like we're looking for somewhere, because I'm thinking of all the locations where there are things and I'm going, wait, it can't be there. But
by the way, have you ever
space
heard?
Is massive, like
I'm kind of getting off topic just to bring something up. You ever heard the theory of why we haven't found any intelligent life, or why no intelligent life has come to Earth?
I'm sure there's a bunch. Why?
It's an interesting one. It's the concept that our universe is so fucked up. Like, our little tiny solar system is such a detriment and such an uninhabitable solar system that no one wants to go near.
I just think it's more likely that nobody has gotten advanced enough to be able to reach us. I mean, the thing is that the space is super fucking vast. Like, we can't even see most of it. The fact that you can actually travel to it is a totally different situation. I mean, there might not be a single planet in all of reality that's capable of traveling this far in a lifetime yet, most likely. Most of space is nothing. I actually do believe that somewhere out there's got to be at least a second planet, if not millions or billions. But most of space is fucking nothing. So I think it's such a small fraction of the world that we haven't gotten lucky enough to have two planets that are right next to each other that both have life. But I do think if we can survive long enough, maybe it could be possible that Mars could have life at some point. You know, I think it's possible. It's not gonna be in our lifetime, obviously. Maybe in a couple billion years. But that would be really cool to have a solar system. That I would do that. If we had like a time machine, I'd be like, oh, let's go back. Let's like if we look into it, I wouldn't go. Because I wouldn't trust that I would go into the future and there would be no Earth and I would instantly die. But I would, if I could look at the future, be like, let's look and see if Mars ever does get populated and have like an atmosphere and shit. Because that would be so cool to be like, let's go on vacation, let's go to Mars for a little bit, and then you could actually get into a space shuttle. Like that's sci-fi shit being like the realities of what could be of sci-fi is so fucking cool.
All right, I think we're good. Like we've talked for
we've run the gamut. This was considerably longer than the last couple that we did. Yeah. No. This was good. This is gonna be a pain in the ass to fucking edit, but it is what it is. They'll get this video in 2027. It's fine. Thank you, Artie, and Baby Oil Supreme. Thank you for showing up.
Swear
you guys want to, if you guys want to kind of not introduce, but if you guys want to kind of say your exits, talk about your channels, whatever, give your stuff and extra.
Unlike what Rouga said, my name is not Baby Oil Supreme. It is Tech Guy Gaming. You can find me on YouTube. I swear to God, I will crawl through my computer screen and strangle you. I hope you all have a wonderful night and enjoy. I don't know, whenever this comes out.
Hi, again, I'm SCP-40K or RD. You can follow me on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, and all of that. Don't forget one last thing, because you always have to remember one thing, and that is...
The fuck did you just say? What did you just say?
Again, my name is SCP-40K or RD, as most people know. Again, I am a VTuber, so if you want to come watch one of the streams or watch one of the videos, go for it. I'm an SCP and 40K guy. And also, remember, Emperor!
That worked a little better.
A little, but kind of, not really.
Again, my name is Artie, also known as SCP-40K. I'm an SCP and 40K VTuber. If you want to come watch one of my streams, you can come to my channel on YouTube, and I usually have a post that says what I'm going to do for streaming. That being said, I also have a TikTok and a Twitter account, thank you, or an X account as it is right now, or whatever the fuck Elon has chosen for himself. But with that being said, thank you for having me, thank you guys for watching this, and always remember, for the Emperor.
Ugh, that was the worst one.
But hey, everybody, that's going to be all from us. If you liked it, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit that membership button if you want to join the membership. And remember, we have a Discord channel. Hit the link in the description below.